Excited to go ahead and kick things off. What's going on, traders? Today, we'll be looking into finding the best charts in the market right now. It seems like we are definitely in a time where the market is hot. Big boys ran this market, talked about that focus yesterday. I know that a lot of stocks went up, but if we really focus underneath the hood, what was this rally on? It was big mega cap tech. Now we got to continue to watch to see if that rally can continue, because if there's anything that could really get things going, it's the big boys, right? So we're going to go ahead and take a look to see how we can trade some of these. I got some swings on some other trades, right? We'll talk all about different trades out there. There's so much on the watch list to go through today. So, hey, if you're watching this show right now, you're tuning in, throw up a stock that you're watching out there in the market, and we'll make sure to cover it. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get right to the action. Start the show. We'll kick things off, and then we'll get into the playbook, the sunrise report, where we give you what stocks are moving and why. Stick around. It's time for Trade the Pool.
Google wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
Good morning, traders. How we doing out there? Let's get the show started. We'll take a look to see what's going on in the market. Let's get right to the action. Let's go to, of course, taking a look here at the market. Guys, it looks like we're on a little bit of a rip out, breakout, rally alert. Rally alert is definitely on. We got through the highs and now we're continuing. Now at this point, we could look for maybe a scoop back to 640s, but I'm looking for expansion away. And part of this is also telling when we came and got this down move, right? A lot of volume coming in there, and it could have actually been buys on that dip, right? So there it is, continuing the high climb, and it's crazy to think that we are, 32% away from that move in April. And it just goes to show you that, hey guys, when we get these moments of 20% pullbacks, it just shows us that in the long run, we got to take shots. We got to go long term. And if you were able to ride this rally up, hey, congratulations to you. Now let's take a look at what's going on in the market right now. We'll take a look at some of the stocks that are moving. I got some trades on already we can tell you guys about. Let's get to the playbook first. Let's talk about some play setups that are out there in the market. Right now, the first one that I want to talk about is Quantum. As we've been seeing these Quantum names kind of get ready for another drive, we're looking to see if they go for a big push here, right? And I'm going to clean this chart up a little bit on QBTS because it has been kind of holding in here, and we got to clean it up. So for me, of course, the resistance is up here towards the 20, but you're starting to see some basing action right around here, and you can see how we kind of came back down and keep kind of triggering up here. Now I want to see if this really wants to take off, right? So we could draw another flag here, and it seems like you're getting kind of flagging action trying to break out, and it just can't. Now I want to see the low from yesterday hold, 1694. Get back above this 1817s and then just push towards 1920s, 1950s right out the gates. That's what we'll be looking for, a push towards 20. And this is not the only one, of course. Rigetti did report. I'll talk about more about the report in the Sunrise report, but we can watch for this one to potentially get above the 16 and break out to the 17. There's other names too, right? There's IonQ that had earnings. And I think this is more about focusing that IonQ and Rigetti's earnings didn't break the market, didn't break these stocks. So with that being said, they could see the lift on the upside, right? We'll see what's happening out there, guys. Time to keep things going. It's good to see you guys in the chat. What's up? What's up? How we doing out there? Let's keep going. We'll definitely take a look to see what else is out there. All right, let's go. And IonQ, of course, is going to be a watch. There's other quantum names you guys can watch, right? QUBT is another name that has been kind of pulled back there, also setting up there. This needs to get back above kind of the 17s and start to rip higher. But there are some names that have been forgotten. Like QMCO, this has just been back down, never got the lift again. So it's not just all the names in the quantum in the quantum space. We'll see what happens on a name like IBM coming down fast. I don't think this is going to stop. If it can't have a green day yesterday, you probably don't want the stock, guys. So we'll see what happens there in these names. Let's keep moving. Let's go to the next one here. As I take my seasonality trade, I talked about it yesterday, and I've talked about this trade multiple times here, how I like to take a seasonal trade on DraftKings every year towards September, right? I take it in August. I try to cash towards the end of August, going till September, looking for a throwback look off of this for it to push right back up there towards 50 and maybe even get back closer towards these highs, which is 53. So right now I'm in this, guys. I can show you guys the position. I got to swing on this. I'm long from 42.87 and we're at 43.25s right now. So looking pretty good as we start to kind of get off of these levels here. I'm like kind of in this range. Now we're starting to get back above the 43s. Looking really good, guys. I'm up about $73, 200 shares I have on this. So we'll keep pushing. And like always, guys, I give it to you guys straight. We'll see what happens here. QS, QuantumScape, another name that I have been having, and I swung it yesterday, actually got stopped out. I didn't like my execution yesterday because I should have been holding off of like Monday's low. The 882 should have been the risk the whole time. If I would have done that, I never would have got stopped out, and I would still be in this with a bigger share size. Now I do have 300 shares, and I got it at 916 on the recent rally. So it doesn't look bad. It's not like I didn't get the share size in this, but I didn't get as big of a position as I wanted. I'm up 115 and I would be up 230, right? Double this amount. So we'll see what happens. It's looking really good on the daily chart. I'm looking for this to climb back, get through 10, and then maybe make a run to 11. Somewhere above 10, I'm looking to sell it here. We'll see what happens in QuantumScape. All right, let's go to one more name here. Let's add one more to the plate here, guys. So I've been looking at different names. You know what? We can just go through the watch list. We're going to go through this watch list completely today. There's 50 names there that we can keep an eye out for. And there's a new IPO that's coming out this week, today, actually. Bullish, guys, is one that I want to tell you guys about. Let's get to the Sunrise Report. Let's talk a little bit more about what's going on there. It's good to see you out there, Vic. Definitely, if you're new to the show or anybody out there that's just tuning in, smash the like. We got a lot more for you guys right here on the show. Let's go over to the Sunrise Report, get you guys ready for the market open here, and talk about the different catalysts that are in the market right now. Of course, we did get some earnings reports. There were some like Kava and others that came in here and not looking like the best, right? All right, let's kick things off. Let's get right to the action and talk more about the Sunrise Report. So, of course, if you guys take a look there, the futures were green this morning as they woke up with a little bit of a spring in the step, and the SPY is starting to push here, guys. So that's actually really good to look at right now. And so now we can start to take a look to see if this can continue to rally here. Of course, yesterday, new record in a lot of the highs, right? Qs, the SPY had a new record, and also small caps getting a little bit of a lift. But why the cheer, right? Why did this come into play? I think this is very important. Well, July's CPI came in tamer than expected. Easing the fears of tariffs are juicing prices. Now, traders now see a 94% chance of a September Fed rate cut. Next up, PPI on Thursday, and then we got Jackson Hole on August 21st to 23rd. That's when we'll get some more talk from Jerome Powell before the September rate cut. So if you want to know when the week is that they could, bring this market back down, I say late August, that August 21st week. But other than that, right now, I think the doors are open for a little bit of a rally alert. All right, we'll see what happens here. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to a stock here, stock specific. We got Core. Is it Core? I don't know why. I think the ticker's got off there. It's Core Weave. I don't know why it's Core Weave. It's CRVE. I don't know why, but Chat GPT 5. You messed that one up, but I won't be mad at you. CoreWeave is down 9% on all after hours, guys. This took a big beating after really bouncing back yesterday and a couple of bounce back days. Revenue was up 207% year over year, but capacity still constrained. NVIDIA chip demand is what's causing this. It's not necessarily the supply, and I think that that's something to be looked at. 11.1 billion debt and margin squeeze 2% versus 20% last year. So the margins are where it really are looking like a big declining action here. There are some big clients here that are buying. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, OpenAI are buying from CoreWeave. But that margin squeeze is really something to be concerned about. The stock debuted, of course, in March of 25th at $40, now trading at $148, now quickly back down to 130s. This is one that I don't like the way that this is looking today. I think it could pull back and then maybe try to reload towards 120s or even below 120. So I'm looking for a pullback here on CoreWeave. I don't like this name right now, but we'll see if it can take off. At least the report wasn't the best news. Let's go to Kava, disaster stock of the day. Definitely there's going to be some discounts at Kava today as this thing comes crashing right back down. And this thing does not look good. I remember people were saying, oh, but this is the next Chipotle. But take a look at Chipotle. How's that performing? It's performing really bad, guys. So it's just how it is, guys. It's not looking good at all. And then they give you guidance. Guidance here, cutting the fiscal year, same store sales, a guidance to 4 to 6% from 6 to 8%. So it shows you more and more the same store sales are coming down, and that's a really negative sign for this space. Q2 EPS at 16 cents, but the revenues missed at 285.6 million. Estimate came in at 280.6 million. Traffic roughly flat after grilled steak launch. Anniversary boost wore off. So it looks like the grilled steak was bringing the traffic in and kind of got them out once they got out of there too. Still investing, joined 25 million round in Hyphen, automated bowl / plate maker. So it's an interesting kind of conversation there. Some automated kind of technology that maybe we got to look into. Hyphen. I don't know about this, but I'm even going to put this on the side. I want to know a little bit more about Hyphen and the technology that maybe you start to see some restaurants bring in. Robotics, guys. Next year, it's going to be a massive year for that. Let's go to Bark. Bark, of course, Barkley is kind of warning here about a post-Jackson Hole sell-off. If rate cuts get aggressively repriced, the theme this year, labor markets in transition, small caps, gold, and USD, most sensitive, are being mentioned. Let's go and we'll talk a little bit more about bullish. It's not bull, the ticker. What is going to be the ticker for bullish? I need to look it up there. But we got to watch to see new IPO coming out today, guys. It's supposed to IPO at 37. So you keep your eyes on that conversation. It's above the 32 to 33 estimate. It raised 1.1 billion in market cap. It's 5.4 billion share count up to 30 million from 20.3 million. It owns CoinDesk and targets institutional crypto traders. So we're talking crypto. It's the company's called Bullish. The ticker, let me just find it for you really right quick, guys. Bullish IPO and the ticker. That's what I'm trying to find for you guys. BLSH. So that's going to be the ticker, guys. BLSH would be the ticker, and then we'll see what happens there. We'll be trading under the New York Stock Exchange. Normally, these come out around like 12, 1 o'clock. So be on the lookout because we can trade this name. And last time, what happened with Circle, right? Well, it opened up, and as soon as it opened up at 69. And on that one day, it went all the way up there to 103. So keep your eyes on these crypto names. It's maybe not the best day for this to come out. Maybe yesterday would have been the better day, but we do have some cryptos hot right now, and we'll see if this can continue to rally. Ethereum taking off, guys, now towards 182. A little part of me is starting to get weary about that Ethereum run. I did see some traders take out their Bitcoin and now are starting to long Ethereum. That's a scary sign for me, but I'll talk a little bit more about that with Michael Noss coming up, guys. So let's keep it moving. Let's go to the next conversation. Circle is doing an offering. I did see that. So keep your eyes on that conversation to see how that performs. Not going to help it. They say 3 sneezes and you're lucky. I don't know what that means today, guys, but definitely sneezing all around today, guys. Woo. I don't know if I'm getting sick. Hopefully not. Can't get sick. No way. Gonna have to drink some emergency coming up shortly. We'll see what happens out there. Let's keep the sunrise rolling here. Overseas check-in. Pretty much Japan market's doing pretty well. Other markets doing well too, not going down. That's the key. Tomorrow, we will get PPI. That could affect the markets, but I don't expect it moving too much. But we'll see what happens off of that. Let's keep going, guys. What's going on? AMD to 200. Not a bad watch. If you guys know, I think I was the first one really calling AMD to the upside. I called it at 116. And that was when we were looking for this to break. Created this on July 10th, right? This line that we were looking for it to break. We're talking right here. All right. And so we were looking for this to kind of get that break. It did the throwback look. Over 116 was really the level where this kind of broke through, where it broke that trend line. It came back to it, gave you a chance here at this 115, and then really just started to take off. I think 200 is in play. I actually drew this box here, created it on June 25th, looking for it to get up in this spot, and we're already there. So will we get up there? Yeah, I could see it getting to 200. I could see it attempting the 216. So not a bad one to keep an eye out for, and a good one to ride the momentum. All right, guys, like always, you guys will also see some nice additions. I did add there a nice little ticker bar at the bottom there to give you guys some news while you guys are watching the show throughout the show. So if you guys see some news there at the bottom, there you go. It's a little added bonus there. Like right now, it's talking about how the White House says it's working on the legality of NVIDIA's and AMD chips deal that they're doing, the spending the 15%, right? So there you guys see some more information there at the bottom. All right, let's keep going, traders. We'll take a look around at the market. We'll take a look to see what else we can find in the market right now. Let's go to the SPY. We'll go to that action. We can talk a little bit more about some other action, but that's going to do it for the Sunrise Report. Of course, PPI tomorrow, Jackson Hole on August 21st, and FOMC in September 17th. All right, guys, let's keep going. We'll talk a little bit more about our profitable trading bot event that's coming on the 18th. So if you haven't signed up, look at the description right now and click that link. If not, go to our social. Of course, all our socials have it, but Twitter especially. You guys will go ahead and be able to sign up for the trading bot event. And I'll tell you one thing, I'll be there because I'm ready to go ahead and build some bots. The question is, are you ready to build a bot? Let me know in the chat if you're ready to get those bots built out. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? How we doing? Lulu looks nice and looks like it's bottomed and going long. There you go, Kevin. Not a bad one to take a look at. Lulu definitely destroyed on the downside. Now, the one thing I will say is that this one, the problem is that it's so expensive. And so, Kevin, the reason why I got hit was because a lot of this is coming from where? It's coming from the tariff mentality. These companies already charge a lot for these products because they are higher end than the material used. But in this case, I think it has more to do with the consumer outlook. Is the consumer buying Lulu, or did Lulu just become a fad? I think that's one thing you need to be asking yourself, Kevin. And one way you can do this is also just doing like a Google Trends search, right? I do this all the time, guys. So let's do this live right in front of you guys. I don't mind showing you guys exactly how to do this. So we can do this by just searching Lululemon. So what you do is you can search this up. I'm going to bring it up right on the screen right now. You can go to Google Trends. What you want to do is you want to put this by like maybe the last 5 years, and you want to see the trend data, right? How is the trend data in the last 5 years? Well, The trend data is like this, guys. You can see it here, how the web search was definitely getting that nice little lift. It started to really push in like 2022. It was really popular when we were in this kind of 23, and we were really seeing Lululemon take off. But ever since kind of the June or May of last year, we've been on a downtrend, and the searches have completely fallen off track. And so what is this telling me? That no one's really searching up Lululemon. The hype has died down, and that is not good news. So you could also do Google Shopping. It doesn't have that alert for Lulu, but for other ones, it will have it. I just like to do it by web search, because what do people do all the time? They just search Lulu. They don't really go to lululemon.com. They just search it up in Google, and then they go ahead and take a look at it. But this is one way that you guys can do some search data to actually find out if your trade idea has some backing. So Kevin, it's not that I don't agree with you that it could get the bounce. I just want to talk about kind of the trend data that's going on with this name. All right, good morning to you guys out there. It's good to see you. Kava is down big, and I don't expect it bouncing back anytime soon. But we'll talk a little bit more about those names. Definitely taking a big hit there. All right, what's going on out there, guys? Talk about the insanity in BMNR. Let's talk about the insanity in BMNR. I've actually traded it twice this week and made some money. Made some money on the upside and the downside. And now it's holding in here, guys. It's at 66. We'll see what happens with it. Can it break 70? It's right there. But I think at some point this is going to come crashing down. But it doesn't mean that you can't trade it both ways. I think you got to respect the hourly chart with this. It does like to do hourly pops and then pullbacks. You see how this goes like this? It's a pop, pullback. Then it drove all through this. Now it's pulling back. And what is it doing? It's holding in there, right? So the trend line are what you're looking for right now to see if those hold. It was a pattern here. There was an expansion here, right? This is kind of more of your flag area. And then now you're kind of more in a different flag. So repeatable patterns can be played. How did this thing do? It held kind of the support right here. So I'm going to actually draw that line up to that support and see if we can hold 61 and break to 70. Doesn't look bad right now. BMNR. All right, bullish, the new IPO. Yes, we'll be looking at that BLSH. That's going to be an interesting one. Comes out around 1, a lot of the times 12. You don't have a specific timing for these. That's the one thing I wish it actually did. Now, one thing I will tell you is that it does have a 30-day option to sell an additional 4.5 million shares. That's to JP Morgan and Jefferies and Citigroup. BlackRock and Cathie Wood's ARK Investment Management have indicated interest in purchasing up to 200 million of shares. So these companies could be getting some action today on BlackRock and Cathie adding towards this name, right? We'll see what happens, guys. This is definitely something to look at. Bullish owns crypto news websites like CoinDesk, which includes crypto index, data, and analytics. Another thing to think about is that the backers include billionaires PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel, and also looking to take advantage of Trump's administration favorable attitude towards crypto. We'll see what happens there and to see if it can keep pushing. All right, guys, we got a little bit more here getting towards 9 a.m. We'll take a look at some different action there. We'll be joined by Michael Noss, and Josh will be back on the show, guys. So excited to bring Josh back on and do some more trading. My man Kevin in the house, definitely, always, Kevin, always willing to show you guys a little bit of some what I do. So if you have a trade idea, there's nothing wrong with looking into the Google trend search, because if you see the Google trend search taking off, that could be some insight. All right, guys, taking a look to see what's happening in the market right now. We're back and forth, guys. I will show you guys a little bit more about my swing trades right now. Let's talk a little bit more about those. I'll pull them up, actually. Here's the positions, guys. So I got the QS and I got DraftKings, and they're doing pretty well. I'm up about 109 on QS, and then up about 73 on DraftKings. Of course, this is in the swing account where we're getting closer and closer and closer towards the eval. Let me know out there, traders, or do you guys have any evals in the swing accounts? I know you guys have a lot of day trade accounts. I want to hear how your swing accounts are going, guys. So let me know what's going on there in the swing accounts. But hey, guys, I've been on a long battle with this swing account. I want to keep battling, guys. So if you guys see here, of course, you guys can see how I've been up and down in this account, but slowly but steadily try to climb, right? Controlling the down waves and pushing, right? The one thing I love about having an account for this long is that the statistics start to really add up. So right here is all I really care about majority of the times. I want to know my risk to reward ratio, 1 to 4.4. That's a really good ratio for this success rate, right? 22%. You're going to need to have a higher risk to reward ratio so that you're able to accomplish it. And if you think about it here, you can see it here. There's 41 profitable trades, 141 losses, the average gain around 183, the average loss around 46, best profit 668, best loss, biggest loss 266. So not too bad there. What does this tell me more and more? Need to try to capture a little bit more when I'm getting closer towards this 183 and making sure that those average losses stay below that 46. If I can keep them below 46, I'm looking really well for what? The risk to reward ratio to continue in the green and going higher. All right, we'll see what happens on that. Like always, guys, smash the like. We've got a lot more to go to. You guys can see it. I'm almost there, trying to get to that 1500. We'll see if we're able to accomplish it. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's bring on Michael Noss. Let's get out of the charts. And then we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about what's going on in the markets. Let's go ahead. Let's bring him on, the man himself, Michael Noss. What's going on with you, man? Good morning.
Great morning, right? What
Yeah.
else? I'm
Oh,
there.
oh,
I'm
oh.
back. I'm good to go. Yeah, it's fantastic. Happy Ethereum all-time high for all that celebrate. It looks like the magazine cover did it again, right? The second they came on there, we've just been ripping. They're talking smack about crypto, and we're getting. Are we there? We're really close, if not on Ethereum. So my question
Oh, I
is
think it's
Solana
setting him
next?
up, though, man. I don't know, man. I started seeing
You're
people,
gonna
and
tell me all-time highs is bearish now, Mitch? Come on.
this is the bear sign. This is the bear sign that's scaring me.
Okay.
Is the amount of people that I saw selling their Bitcoin position to open Ethereum yesterday.
Yeah, if you're doing that, you're doing it late for
And
sure.
I'm
But
talking about like big money managers talking about this. CNBC guys.
oh
Um,
well,
and you already
that's
know
your
how that
fault for
one
watching
rolls.
CNBC.
No, not even. I just have some of these guys on Twitter, right? And I could see them being like, "Oh, I'm selling my iBit because I want to go in Ethereum." I'm like, well, I don't know if that's the move now.
Yeah,
With Ethereum, the way it's extended right here.
I'm gonna take the bullishness of the new all-time highs, and I'm gonna take that over the bearishness of some dummies out there doing dumb stuff. Right?
I think it's the dummies that sometimes get me scared, but hey, it's just how it goes sometimes.
Well,
But yes,
always remember what's that famous George Carlin quote, right? Is like, think about how stupid the average person is, and half of them have to be stupider than that.
yeah.
So that's why I always just look. And I'm trying to bring up here, I'm trying to find where's my bar chart? I'm trying to find the commitment of trader data. I haven't looked at that for Ethereum for a long time here. I don't
Hmm.
know if last time I looked, they were actually net long Ethereum and net short Bitcoin
Hmm.
for a while, which no, not ethanol futures.
Good morning, AC out
Ethereum.
there. It's good to see you guys out there and definitely smash it up. Will this firm open option soon? I don't think so. I don't think that's what we're leaning towards right now. At least that's not the intentions. But you can always reach out to us to give us feedback if that's what you're looking for.
Well,
Um,
and I would also say too is why, right?
yeah, like it
Because
just doesn't really make
you
sense.
get you use options for leverage, but here you can get a $200,000 account with like
You're
what, a
already getting
thousand bucks,
leverage.
right? So you're taking
Yeah.
$1,000 and you're getting a $200,000 account. that's leverage enough. You want to do options leverage on top of that. I think that's pretty wild. But no, it looks like they're about flat. So again, we're always looking here at the green
Yeah.
line. This is the dumb money that we want to chase. As of last week, right here, they were still a little bit short, and then coming into this week, they covered that position, and they're about flat. So thankfully, because they had been getting killed quite a bit, but thankfully they're doing okay here. So that's the Ether Micro. Where's the Ether? Let me take a look here. There's also on FinViz, just FYI, you can go into FinViz and you can just grab under the futures and you can find all the futures here. And they actually have the commitment of trader data in there as well. I just have to find, it's probably, is it under currencies? Yeah, so this is, they don't have Ethereum here, but they do have Bitcoin. And again, that's very interesting that if you look at the Bitcoin commitment traders data, they've actually been net long just a little bit here. Oh no, sorry, the net short. Sorry, the commercial traders. They flipped the. I don't know why it's red on this chart, but they're still short. So people are still shorting the cryptocurrencies. So I'm going to kind of, yell the same way I did about looking at the indices that as long as we are short, they are short. The S&P 500. I think we're going higher, and I've been saying that kind of ever since the lows. And if these guys don't cover, I want to continue to fade them, and they haven't covered. So. It'll be interesting. I don't think they're as short in the Ethereum space, but hitting new all-time highs while being short something is the best thing that I can think happening. And that's the only way that that they're wrong. They can be short and be making money, and then that short position doesn't matter. Again, I always use something like AMC, for example. If AMC was a heavily shorted stock, which it's not anymore, it's at all-time lows, so they're fine. You want to find something that is heavily shorted and moving higher aggressively, or better yet, something heavily shorted like crypto is at all-time highs, because you just know everybody who's involved in this is absolutely dead wrong. So short run, definitely a little overextended here for sure.
Yeah, it
Need
just
some sort
seems
of
to
rest and
me. I
pullback.
just look at the back. I always look back at the chart, and it has a tendency of doing this and then coming down fast. That's my
long
concern.
run,
So
I'm kind of looking at right. So this is the last time we broke all-time highs, the last major time right here, and you can see we never sold back under that level. So if you bought these all-time highs, you never lost money. We broke through and just continued, and had, this is from 1400. So I think we doubled in pretty much a straight line. Yeah, 200% after, so tripled. After we broke the all-time highs last time, and then even when we crashed, we didn't retake that zone. And then same right here, when we broke all-time highs back here, again, straight shot higher. Same thing with Bitcoin. And
yeah,
it's one of those, the people that have always been afraid of Bitcoin, well, every time you've broken an all-time high in Bitcoin, if you just bought that and sat, right, you did it right here, you did it back here, and then people will come in when Bitcoin does this, go, see, I told you it was a scam, but it's still like well above this high. And then they'll come back here and say, yeah, I told you it was a scam, and it's well above this high. So
yeah. You just got to hold on to your pants, though. That's the one thing, and a lot of
trading
people
volatile
fold.
assets, yeah.
A lot of people fold, right? That's the major thing, and they view Bitcoin like a trade versus an investment. I think in that mentality that you're talking about, it's more that investment. And if you're it as an investment, you're just trying to average down and keep loading into it in the long run.
Well, and
You're not
even
necessarily even trying to sell it, I think.
so we're on a daily chart, right? So even this all-time high break in just like 3 days, that was a 26% gain. And then this all-time high break, if you got it within 2 days, it's another 7-8%.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to trade this. I look at kind of these as just small internet companies, right? They're momentum driven. So if the momentum's on your side, you don't really want to fade that. It's not something that usually rewards you in the long run, is fading really high momentum names, especially heavily shorted high momentum names, which is what crypto is right now. I think they were betting behind that. And this is my crypto list. You can see everything here is doing well. And guess what's doing the best? You guys laughed at me yesterday. You laughed at me when we were right here. And I said, listen, I just put a bunch more into Farcoin. But ever since that, in the last day and a half, this thing's jumped 32%. 32% in a day and a half. So I still love this chart. I'm still looking at this as a
Oh man.
But it's all about Solana, right? So Solana is
It's
the
all
only
about
one
the
that
Solana.
hasn't moved yet. So we got
Now it's
Bitcoin.
time. No. Now it's not time to load in Ethereum. Now it's time to work down the line, guys. That's
Hmm.
where I feel like it gets wrong. Like at first it was Bitcoin, then it
Yep,
moved down, right? Then it moved down. I think you keep working down the list, not up the list here.
I'm
Um,
with you there. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
So you work
I
down the list. You look for the lags, right? The lags.
one of my buddies from All Star Crypto, he was pounding the table on Ethereum, and everyone was laughing at him way back when it was at its lows. And now
Oh,
he said the same thing. He switched back. He's made a
yeah,
bunch of
man.
money in
I
Ethereum,
think
and
we
now he's
talked
switching
about
to
it here,
Solana.
man. How much was built already on Ethereum. That's why I said, regardless of Bitcoin, like regardless of how Ethereum is performing now, at some point it needs to gain life,
Hmm.
because if not, all those projects go worthless. And there was so much built on Ethereum. That's why it's back up. I also think that you're going to start to see some projects at some point with Ethereum going higher, they might sell out and try to restructure their projects to Solana. So moves like that could be a big shift, right? So
Yeah.
like if your Ethereum goes high enough, then you could back out of your projects, right? But at a very low valuation of Ethereum, and you put all this money in Ethereum when it was at the highs, well that's not going to help you, right? Now you're losing a bunch of money that you put into it.
Well,
So
and right, and you're talking 46% gain from here just to get back to all-time highs in
yeah,
Solana. Now, it's a lot harder to find the short in Solana because there's no futures contract for it. You can find it on chain. That's just a little bit harder because you have to aggregate it across a bunch of different exchanges and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's very
so Sultan, we'll be looking at the Salt.
catch up.
We're
That's
going
what
Sultan, man.
that's what I was going to say. SOLT, for those who don't know, because we're trading the equity space, but you always have to talk about
Yeah.
crypto because everything's a crypto company now. This is 2x Solana, which is gapping up, what, 16% today? Oh, no, that was yesterday. So it's up another 11% today. And again, always, I'll say this, never do your analysis on this because this is just going to move with this. So do your analysis on the actual coin itself. There's a lot of places that you get free crypto charts out there because the data is not getting like paywalled behind the CME or anything like that. So make sure you're doing your analysis on the thing that makes the most sense to. And then yeah, to understand if this is a trade you want to take, that there are leverage vehicles. So for the guy who wants options, hey, instead of trading options on crypto, you can just get 2 times your leverage. And then if you get, you put your $100 down, you get a 25K account. Well, now you're putting 25K on a double leverage version of crypto. What else? You are leveraged right up there. What else do you want?
Yeah, for that ETHU, of course, started to really do move after the split. I think it's interesting to look at these leverage names to see what's the performance after split. Because this did the split and it was literally right after that. It was right after that that it got hot. And like it's almost like someone was waiting for that split to put a bigger position in. And you can see the volume that came in even just like the 1 week prior to that. So everyone was looking for Ethereum to bottom out in April. And then when we started to turn around with the market, there were some big positions put on. So those orders, the volume that you see about 15 million and 13 million in those weeks at the bottom there, yeah, those are the traders that really killed it on Ethereum. And that was what buying when there was blood in the streets, and they just stuck to the mentality of, hey, it was time to see Bitcoin. As long as Bitcoin
Well,
didn't collapse, Ethereum was going to come back,
and
right?
then look at this right here. So this is why again you always look at the right. So you talk 15 million shares done in that ETF. So far today, across all the Ethereum chains, $62 billion.
Yeah.
So what's that? 5,000 times what the ETF did at its height. So there's just so much money flowing through this, and that's why even if the ETF may look slightly liquid, there are market makers that their whole job is, again, the ETF is meaningless, right? The ETF moves and then, or the coin moves, and then the ETF just gets made to move with it. So even if you're looking at your ETF and you're saying, oh, well, it only does a couple 100,000 a day, maybe whatever. It's like, yes, the spread, you're going to have to worry about just a little bit, but understand that if the coin itself is liquid, there's market makers out there to make sure that the coin and the ETF are going to move absolutely in lockstep. Because if you think about it, if it doesn't, there's free money there, and nobody's going to leave free money on the table. Say your Ethereum ETF goes down and Ethereum goes up. Well, it's the most brain dead trade in the world to short one and buy the other, and then you get free money out of it because you can convert your Ethereum into the ETF. So so that's one thing I always look at when it comes to volume, is to make sure that you are uh, looking at the volume of the coin itself, right? And it's not a big problem right now, but Tron, for example, I know some people are talking about, because that's now doesn't have an ETF, but it has a company, right? That's called Tron, and it just does Tron things, and that's
Yeah, that was a good steal. Whoever did that name, that was a good
oh.
steal.
And I'm shocked that it just wasn't taken just because it's like a cool techie name, like by some
Dude, such
small,
a cool techie name. Like,
like
I'm a big
just
Tron fan, so
hey,
I've
even
been
if you did like EVs or something like that, you think you could just pull off the Tron
dude.
name just absolutely fine.
Just do an EV that looks like a Tron. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
those bikes. Yeah, give
Yeah,
me one of
dude.
those bikes, I'm down.
I'll
But yeah,
ride that bike. I don't even like bikes, and I'll ride that bike.
so I look at Tron and I say, okay, well, even if this isn't doing a whole lot of volume, it doesn't really matter, because if you go and look up what Tron is doing as a coin, and this is Coin Market Cap, you guys can look at. It's done $1.3 billion worth of volume today. And again, this is a free Coin Market Cap. One thing that's cool about it is it will just list the top market cap coins at the time in order. So you can just look at the biggest versus smallest coin. These are obviously changing all the time.
Yeah.
And with those, you can chart it. You can do all kinds of stuff when it comes to different coins. And again, this is all free, because one beautiful thing about the cryptocurrency world is, again, you're not competing with what the CME or the NYSE or whatever, who's kind of paywalling the data. Is that you can just get the data for free, which is just something that's really, really cool about the crypto space. But back to the equity world. Also, new all-time highs for those who celebrate. New all-time highs yesterday, gapped up to new all-time highs today. Generally, things you don't see in bear markets. Right?
Yeah, definitely not.
I don't think we have anything else today that we care
No, not today.
at
There
all
might be
about.
some speak. Tomorrow would be the economic data day, PPI, coming in tomorrow at 8:30.
Yeah,
So
Trump.
keep your eyes on that.
So this guy just needs to not tank the market, and we're good to go. We're pretty much past what we care about with earnings seasons too. There's Cisco, and then I noticed some of the Chinese names are reporting, but you see how barren this is compared to what it usually. So nothing really going on, which is good, because it means the market can move purely technically. Now, for me, I'm interested in just fading this gap if I can get a low risk entry, because what are we up? Is this 9 now of days where we haven't been able to break the low of the day before? So now that we're way up here, a pullback into this prior high and like a successful test of this zone, I think makes perfect sense. If we come in and we test that zone, we push higher, right? Give the bears will say, "See, I told you," as we sell off, and then back to new highs again until they cover. But yeah, so I'm looking. It's just, I hate the term overbought, but we've
Yeah.
gone up like 5% without breaking the low of a prior day before it. Like at some point, this pattern's gotta change.
Yeah, I think I'm actually in the camp of that we're gonna push here. I think we're doing the final push of the year. I think they're trying to price in the rate cut now, and I think this is the last hoorah for the year. As we get the rate cut, I think from there things will be tough. It should help the market, but I think in this case, it's going to be maybe signs of topping. Now, of course, I also mentioned how we got Jackson Hole that will be coming in at the end of August to 21st. That's going to be the next conversation that we'll get from Jerome Powell. That's what matters. That's where you're going to get hints that there could be a rate cut coming or not. And I think we'll look towards that to find out a little bit more about how the Fed feels about the economy. So right now, that leaves a door open for a big tech rally. I talked about this yesterday, and boy, oh boy, did it get started. You could look at the big boy names. Microsoft got right off of that gap and pushed strong.
Well,
Meta
and what
pushing
really
strong.
got me was, so if we go IWM versus the SPY, so the little versus big, essentially.
Yeah.
Obviously, for the longest time, if this line goes down, it basically means that large caps are just beating the pants off small caps. So over the long run, over the last 5 years or so, you've been way better. But if you look at just yesterday's action, look at this dramatic outperformance of the little guys versus the small or the big guys. And if you go IWC versus the SPYs, these are the micro caps. I think micro cap is classified as under 2 billion. Another rip as well. So I guess gapping down a bit today. Liquid, I think I probably shouldn't bring that up. But yeah, this is interesting. So we were talking about this a little bit in our WhatsApp, and we both agree that this is the interest rate move, right? The
Yeah.
fact that
Yeah.
these little
100%.
tiny insignificant guys are doing way better than your big names is just saying, okay, they're buying names that they're expecting to move well when the interest rate comes out. But the question is that just going to be the big sell the news event in September when they finally do cut rates like everybody's thinking? Is that the rug pull? And that's what I'm going to be kind of interested in. It would be perfectly fitting if all of these shorts in the S&P 500 cover at the same time that they cut rates, and then that's the top, because that would be perfect, right? So that's September, whatever. I think last I checked, there was a 95% chance of, and 95 or 96% chance of a rate cut. So what I did, and you can take a look here, is if you go back in history, and now there's some context that I'm sure you got to put in this, but if you could just go in Fed rate, Fed funds, and you put Fed funds into right here, into trading view. So this is the Fed fund rates, and this is the market. And you can see, generally speaking, when they start to lower rates, the market's not liking that too much. Even back here, right? They lowered rates again. So this is the first time kind of since 1999 that they lowered rates a little bit and the market pulled back a little bit, but it's not what most people think, that when they lower rates, the market usually cranks higher. So that's why I'm kind of in the boat where this may be the sell the news event. We finally get the rate cut that everyone's looking for.
Yeah.
And then that marks some sort of short-term top or even high of the year at that point.
I have an interesting ETF for you, my friend. I know you like to find these new ones
Ooh,
out, or a
I love
different
them.
one that you haven't might have been trading. What about Top T? TOPT.
Oh, so top 20 shares by what? Market cap?
By market cap.
Oh,
Interesting, right? Interesting chart.
so
And
I wonder this versus what's that? The mags?
the
Is that
mags. Yeah, mags. Might
MAGS?
be different. That's 7. All right. Now this one's your top 20. What I like about it, it's iShares, right? iShares probably being one of the
Yeah.
best ETF provider versus Brown Hill.
Yeah.
I love the guys at Round Hill. I've talked to them plenty times, but they're very liquid. That's my problem with
Yeah,
them.
they don't have the name rec of
Yeah.
iShares, right?
Exactly. So I think this is an interesting one because this is what I'm seeing is running the market right now. Also, it's the top names, and I think that we got to continue to watch to see how much of this is going to be led by the top names. The volume in this tells me also that just got some volume, really like kind of some volume inserted in the last 2 weeks, and
Oh,
I
is
talked
there
about.
Is there a bottom? Is there a that would be a really cool chart.
The
Is there a
bottom 20.
bottom?
No, that's a good idea right there. I'll send it to Tuttle. I'm sure he'll get it running in 3 months, man.
Yeah, like well, yeah, give me an ETF that is
The
not
bottom.
yeah, not the or even what
There's
480.
value or growth. I think there's something like that, but I don't think you've seen the bottom.
Because it'd be interesting. Because I'm looking at this IWM versus top, right? And small
Yeah.
caps are outperforming this guy too. But I just think now that I'm looking at that, I think that's an interesting chart to potentially do because we talk about this all the time where one day it seems like big cap tech is ripping and then the small guys are down on the day or left behind. And then
Yeah.
the other day it flips and the other day it flips. So I'm just thinking, would that be a really cool indicator to kind of build and look at like the top 10 versus the bottom 10 or something like that? And
Completely. I agree, Michael.
right,
It
see
makes
which of the
complete sense. What's driving the market? Is it the top boys or not? And that tells us really quickly. Also, I think it tells us also the speed of the rally
yeah.
because when the top boys really drive and it's like a collection of the top, yeah, you can move this market, right? Like I think that's why I'm so focused in on like a Microsoft and Meta. We talked about Meta potentially getting to 800 yesterday. I said it kind of tongue in cheek, right? That was 30 points higher when we were talking about it. We're at 792 right now. We're only 8 points away from that 800. Meta's breaking out, Apple's breaking out, Google's breaking out, Microsoft is breaking out. We have Nvidia near what all-time highs, right? Or past all-time highs, right? We have AMD driving towards all-time highs.
Hmm.
AVGO all-time highs, right? Like big boys are driving. And you can also see it in the kind of the pickup in the XLK. Um, and you can see how technology. I know that a lot of people are thinking, well, it's everything lifting this rally. And
Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's a part of it, right? Well, they say that the the trending saying, right, that the
Rising
tide
tide.
lifts all boats, right? Yes, but how fast is your boat rising? That's why you were talking about it yesterday. How if your stock is not making a move yesterday, do you really want to be in that name, right?
No, and it's on days like that that everything was ripping. And another way, it's IWV, I think, right? Yes, this is the Russell 3000. So
Yeah,
the Russell
Russell.
3000 contains 3,000 of the largest stock or all largest stocks, period. So I think I read somewhere it's like 98% of the investable universe is in the Russell 3000. The only things that aren't in the Russell 3000 are like real junky names, like sub $50 million market cap type of things. And when you look at this, it's doing amazingly. So this is kind of everything. And again, I'm going to keep going back to this IWM versus SPY because that tells me who's leading right now. If this line's going up, small cap's leading. If this line's going down, then large cap is leading. And I don't want to say it because I've been, teased so much because large cap has been the way for 5 years, but we're seeing just a little bit of a push here in the small cap. So I don't know if this is the start of something, but from Monday to today, we've had a very huge outperformance in the small cap space and also mid cap. So you can also do MDY, which is your mid caps, which is 2 to 10 billion, I think, and versus SPY, and not as good, but still some outperformance there. I like mid caps. I know a bunch of funds like to shop in the mid cap sector
Oh yeah,
because you're filtering out your junk from the small caps, but it's a lot easier for a mid cap, a $2 billion or $5 billion company to become a $10 billion company
exactly.
than a $5 trillion company to become a $10 trillion company. So
And you're trying to find your next big boomer, right? And they're usually coming from the mid caps. They're not coming from small caps to large cap. That's just
yeah,
too big of
most
a
of
move,
well,
right?
the only example of small cap to large cap I've known recently was SMCI, and I think
Yeah,
it hit large cap like right there, and
yeah.
then
That's
crashed
how it is. Looks like Tesla has
90%.
some news out there. I'm looking to see the news. I did see somebody talk about how it's dropping fast there. I'm trying to find it here to see if there's something that was come up.
Oh yeah, so a little bit of an
Uh,
range extension candle there.
oh, Looks like Elon Musk is offering up to $33 an hour for New York City robo-taxi test drivers. Dun,
That'd be
dun,
fun.
dun.
Stressful. Like sitting in that thing, just don't crash, don't crash, don't crash.
I put like a full football gear.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would make people confident. They get into the robo taxi. Mitch is wearing one of those things they do for like dog bite training, like those giant suits.
Roar.
Yeah.
Let's go, guys. All right, getting ready
Okay.
for the
All right.
open here. Let's run through some names really quickly here. I got something for you. We'll run just
Yeah.
through some of these names on the watch list. We'll put it by the 5-day price trend to the market. So what's outperforming the price in the market the last 5 days, right? ETHU, SQM. You know it's your boys. I hope somebody has this in the long-term account someday and gonna give me at least a little bit of some love because that SQM is doing well. ALB a part of that trade, right? We'll see how those lithium names can continue to perform. And I talked about it yesterday. Only bros know about bros as it keeps going. Look for Starbucks
I
and
have
bros.
to. Well, we're doing some things soon. We'll talk about it soon. But I'm going to the
Yeah.
States. You got to take me to one of these. You keep talking about this. I don't have
Yeah,
them up here,
man.
right? You got to
Bros is
bring me.
bros, man. And
Give me that like heart attack coffee thing that you showed me.
yeah. We're gonna get you a nice 911 right early in the morning. But yeah, Starbucks is one to look at because if they sell their Chinese assets, that's going to be something to watch for. Markets opening up here. I got to go focus on my swings. Swings are rocking and rolling. DraftKings starting it off to start the day here. Nice push candle right out the gates here. Looking good, guys. Up about 119 on this. QS about 115. Trying to push here. Let's see what we can do today, guys.
FTAI. I just got triggered in on the
Woo.
swing side of things.
QS ripping out the gates here. Let's go, QS. Let's go.
So this is an interesting grab. Where am I? Here I am.
I need to get my day trade account. I'll get that up right now, guys. I've just been focused on the swings.
So here's FTAI. We know what Jobby was been just on fire. So this popped up from my swing trading systems just because of this nice tight base here, gapping up and pushing a little bit today. And then the longer term chart of this I really like. Just a nice kind of condensed range that's looking awesome right here. Nice tightening range. And talking about Axon.
Axon.
Oh yeah, it came down, filled the gap. That's an interesting one. So if that digs in here, kind of in this gap and shelf, that could be a good little pullback buy. But yeah, FTAI is kind of my watch for the morning.
You mean your life is worth $33 an hour? No, man, only 34. All right, guys. Let's see if I can keep bouncing back in this day trade account. Yesterday, killed it on a nice little bounce back trade. That was on SoFi, guys. And ATNF, did you guys see that bad boy? That thing was a freaking rocket. I wasn't able to hold on to all of it, but I got a good portion of it. Not going to be mad about that.
So FTAI and TLS took a little bit of a short on this guy. A little bit of an overextension short there on
Rigetti, quantum stocks ripping, guys. I talked about quantum stocks on the play today. Playbook, the Rigetti starting it out the gates with $1 run there. Glad we talked about those stocks. There's the run. Rigetti taking the lead there. QBTS also on the radar. Seeing that start to lift there too. 19 was the look there. It already lifted there about 30, 40 cents. So if you were able to look at those quantum names today, hey, hope you guys were able to nail that trade out the gates.
Got some of this laser, LAZR.
Laser, there you go. A little LiDAR play.
Yeah, VWAP to VWAP fade, right? This thing just gapped down yesterday on earnings, spent the whole night and most of the morning under VWAP, is breaking back up through there now. So we need to see if we can get a little bit of a push there. Taking a look at the market, the overall market just begin with just absolutely ripping off.
Yeah, there's so many names ripping too. OKLO, just take off, guys. That's about 5% from this morning. So maybe you start to see the nuclear names get a little hot here. So just riding waves, right? Like as much as I want to be kind of like I was starting to see those nuclear names as a little bit of a short. They're riding up right now. So ride that wave. SMR could be one of those that could really get going here, even though the chart wasn't looking great. We'll see if it starts to get moving.
Yeah, OKLO is looking great. Qs are doing fine. IWM today. So this is what we talked about, right? So IWM is actually selling a little bit from the open while the SPY is ripping. So where yesterday we had IWM outperforming dramatically, small caps were doing better than large cap. Exact opposite so far today. So keep that in
Tesla
mind.
ripping here, guys, out the gates. I talked about how Tesla could keep ripping. I think it looks awesome today, guys.
Yeah.
Good push.
So far, right? So we take the IWM, soak this in your brain first 2 minutes down, and then compare that to the Qs, which are just ripping. So this is very much a large cap tech move right now, anyway. And yeah, Tesla being one of the leaders from that.
Yeah,
That
man.
daily chart, ever since we broke out of this wedge,
I mean, I was there. I was calling it that exact day on the 6th. We were talking about 312's breakout for Tesla. Since that moment, it hasn't come back to 312. That's 10% from that level.
Yeah.
So why was it? It was a double bottom look right off of that Tuesday, the 5th to the 4th. You got to look for that setup, man. What do? They undercut it and then they rally it. It's too obvious now to look for these undercuts under support and then for the rally to come back. That's the same trade that I'm doing in DraftKings. Got to keep looking for those undercut and rallies. APLD undercut and rally just a day or two ago. Now already back up there to 1520s. There's so many hot names right now. Bull's looking good today. Rubrics is looking good today. So many names, man.
So I'm adding circle to this the VWAP fade list. Just selling here off the open. Someone's bringing a BMNR. That this move just makes perfect sense with the Ethereum move.
Tempest pushing. I saw a lot of traders trading this yesterday on the swing, and they're getting the cash to pay for it.
Yeah, up into this resistance zone right here. Through then, if I remember correctly, this one's pretty shorted.
Oh, look at also Bloom Energy, man. That thing doesn't want to stop. I talked about that early on when this was at like 28s. I have yet to buy Bloom Energy because I haven't gotten a single break of the 9 EMA that I felt could actually be an entrance, and this is just rocking and rolling, man.
BE. Yeah, pretty shorted there too. 22% short on that name.
Looking for Amazon today, guys. That's starting to make the move here. I might take that ride.
The crypto markets here, right? Ethereum is just ripping, Solana's ripping, Bitcoin's ripping. Hilarity. That the weekend article was sell your Bitcoin, please. And away we go. Looking at the one true king. Fart, that's ripping as well. So, right, I use this as a proxy for meme coins. And look, you can see this is the list. This is my crypto list. Pretty much everything. Dogs in a cat world, Pepe. I know sheep with hat. I can't believe what is my life right here. Sheep with hat is
I can't even take it serious. Salt, baby. Salt out the gates. It's already up a good 30, 40 cents. Yeah, 40 cents out the gates here. Salt.
Yeah, because we're seeing that Solana move. And just look at this. Just in a straight line. 17-18% move in Solana. This is amazing. This is why I talk about this when I talk about the other coins, right? My meme coins is because they're just going to move with Solana. Solana's ripping, so will my meme coins, right? It's very correlated.
Quantum names pulled back there. I'm just looking for pullbacks here to guys to play in here. SPY is doing really well. VIX is dropping fast, but now getting a little bit of a spike. We'll see if we get some type of pullback here. The VIX is moving up with the market. That's an interesting one.
Well, right, the VIX again is how many people are buying or puts on the SP 500. Are they learning? Like now would be the time to maybe buy some puts on the SP 500. Usually Amazon they do it after the market's tanked. And
big cap guys. Amazon pushing. I'm trying to catch any of these big cap names, but they're not pulling much on the backside of here.
Yeah,
maybe Meta.
Look at right. So here's your small caps. So right, keep hammering on this. Yesterday, small cap day. Today, not the small cap day, at least for now. Can't even get above VWAP on small caps, where if you look at this large caps, just ripping to new highs, just unstoppable move here on the large cap. So again, this is one of those days you look at your brokerage account, and if you have a small cap that's not doing well, you're not as mad at yourself as you were yesterday. Yesterday, you should have been really mad at yourself that you had a small cap not doing well. Today, the small cap sector as a whole is doing poorly, and large cap is just on fire.
Amazon just ripping, guys. I've been watching it since 223.20s. It's already 224, almost 20s. I just can't catch it. It's too fast. I need to pull back to 223.
Going through here, taking a look, see if there's any of these sectors that are standing out. ARC, yeah, I guess. Finally, is it's the greatest wealth destroyer of all time. This would be the greatest comeback story ever if we got a real recovery in ARC, where she drew down 90 some odd percent, but then ended up coming back. That's if you're rooting for an underdog, you're rooting there for ARC for sure. ITV home builders are doing very well today.
Lagging here myself, guys. I'm missing my buy on UUUU just because I wasn't ready there to put the order in. Missed it already. 10 cents, 20 cents. Good Lord. Oh, that's so annoying.
Biotechs. Why is IWM doing so poorly if biotechs here are doing
Good Lord, UUU.
XBI? Yeah, so we have
I hate
biotechs
chasing
here
too.
doing great. Pushing up higher here. Again, for biotechs, I'm really watching this anchored view app. Let's draw this in from all-time highs right there. Right, we're holding. We've been hanging out at this forever. If you go all the way out and you look at from all-time highs, we have that anchored view app that's right above. So we're kind of squeezing here on biotechs. So it must be KRE. Like what's holding us down here in the small cap world? Regional banks, I guess, aren't doing that well.
I can take a look here in just a second.
Yeah, because IWM is just not going. Everything else is on fire. IWM is just not the thing. IWC is down a little bit today, which is pretty crazy. And then even within the sector, right? So we have the SPY up 0.4%, and then we've got RSP up 0.3%, and you can just see the kind of the intraday chart is lagging pretty hard. And again, this is all you need to know is where is the market going. Right. Yesterday, we had RSP outperforming the SPY, and we had IWM outperforming the SPY. So we had your small guys doing well and your big guys kind of holding on. And then we're getting the exact opposite move today, where these big guys are holding up everything. So it must be your Metas, your Amazons, right? AMZN, ripping your Teslas. Oh, that's
I might be
nice.
chasing, but I'm going after UUUU, guys. I'm a little annoyed I missed my entry, but that's just my
Interesting
fault.
little pattern there in Tesla, basing sideways.
Going for a little UUUU.
A little pullback there, yeah.
A little annoyed because I should have got the 990 entrance there, guys. I just was slow on the order form, and then by the time I was about to hit the buy already, it was already to 10:05. So see what happens.
Trading.
UUUU. We'll see if that one keeps going. Of course, so you guys know I've been talking about this name for a little while now. So definitely chased. I'm up at 10:01. Should be at 990s, and then that way I can risk down towards 970s. But that's the big thing about chasing. It's where you risk that matters. So it's not necessarily just getting in. It's more the risk side of that. Grail really pushing strong here today, up almost about 6%. Just pulled back. Going to give an opportunity. Tempest continuing to rip higher. Alster just doesn't want to stop. There's Bloom Energy. Quantum names did pull back. That's the one name that I will say that definitely a pullback there into play. How's that BMNR? Starting to drop. I played that both ways, man, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. It seems a little tippy-toppy, but it can still
Yeah,
get
we're
going.
getting a little bit of an even out here just in the market as a whole. A little bit of a downtick in the SPY. Like we talked about, the small and mid caps haven't been really participating. So if the large caps give up the ghost even a little bit, everything else has been pulling back in. So
Ooh, blow off top look on OKLO. It was really strong. It just came down fast, and SMR got hit hard. So just be careful out there. Definitely a pullback fast in SMR, and then OKLO.
LAZR trade working out here.
Yeah.
Nice little push up from this one, and then the other name that I was watching is just this. Where is it? TLS, and that's working as well. So far 2 for 2. A lot of day to go anyway. Again, target on this would be the 2-day VWAP. This doesn't move very much. You're talking like 20 cents higher. Just took another trade in SBH. So a little bit of a short. Oh, Sally Beautings again. I traded this the other day. I think I lost on it, I think. So hopefully this one works a little bit better. HBI. We're talking underwear. Underwear and beauties. Yeah, that's a nice little pop there on Hanes brands. And Macy's. Oh, if you're saying Macy's popping, no. Okay. I was like, this has been, look at that.
It's just department stores, man.
Junk.
So JWN, your department stores could be getting a lift today.
What is that chart? That bankrupt?
Oh,
What's
yeah.
going on there?
Wrong
I was
one.
like,
That's Macy's is with what is it? It's department stores. Oh, did it go off the board?
yeah, I think she's off the board. SPY
off the
new
board.
highs. That pullback was literally less than one candle, one less than 2 candles, 2-minute candle deep, and now we're hitting new highs again. What do you do? Again, these are one of those days that's kind of frustrating, I know, for discretionary traders because we just ripped off the open. So you either bought some small caps or bought some large caps and had a great time, or you're, sit on your hands, wait for a pullback. Right? I'm going to be the coach here. Don't FOMO in. Right? Coin.
Yeah. Don't FOMO in.
Oh yeah, coin ripping makes sense. Market's doing well, and we've got cryptocurrencies across the board on fire. This is an interesting daily chart. For those who liked the whole into the gap thing, looks like we're trying to get into the gap here, and then the high of that gap's pretty high. So I like that. I like that. Oh, I love this comment from Zero Gravity Zen. I'm sitting on my hand since I'm a range-bound trader. Perfect. So you quickly identified that at least for large caps today, this ain't a range-bound market, and then you sit on your hands. That's perfect what you need to do as a trader is identify the environment you're in, say, it's not for me, it's not for my style. Let me wait. We can pop into a range later in the day, absolutely. I've noticed that when you get this insane opening drive, generally the rest of the day it comes a little bit choppy. So it's one of those, you either catch the move right away or you're left waiting. Just don't be that guy who's going to just punch in all in at the top here.
Yeah, seeing some pullbacks around there, guys. Like QS coming back there. DKNG also. Amazon still holding on well on that 9 EMA. Still no pullback there. Mara trying to reload and go through 16. It's been through 16 3 or 4 times this week. So look at maybe if this is the time that it actually goes through 16 and holds. If it doesn't, it could be a nasty rejection on those miners. VIX jumping there a little bit, but
yeah, just the
Momentous out there getting the lift, of course. MNTS up there to 225. Small name X4 that I talked about yesterday kept holding the $3 look, looking pretty good at starting to push.
You traded this one good yesterday, didn't you? You took a good
X4. No, I did not trade it well. I actually stopped out on the support right off the 81s, and then it ripped.
Oh, it was the other one.
Yeah, it was
another
ANTF.
NTF.
Yeah.
That's still
It was ATNF. There you go. Sorry, it's a little dyslexic. ATNF.
yeah, this guy. Oh, that's an interesting.
It's starting to recover VWAP right now.
Yeah, ripped this morning in the pre-market. And
We
it's
made
now trying to go a
300 on
little
this
higher
on the
here.
6 break, but I didn't hold it to 12. Should have held it to 12, man.
Oh, I should have just held overnight.
Yeah.
Got it at 20.
Yeah. The key here is that it was on the day trade too, and then I just put the stop when we got out of here. When you put the stop, yeah, it comes back and hunts you. I put the stop right underneath the 9 EMA, and it came real quickly. Just grabbed me, and then just went higher. That's why I don't like putting out stops, man. It just doesn't seem to work.
Just depends where you put them, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. I guess it's always too tight because it always comes right back to it. Especially when you're in the green, right? I've noticed this more when you're in the green than when you're in the red. I have a tendency to
Well,
be
right,
more.
since they again, it's one of those that should just be information, right? I guarantee you, they don't see your stop in the way we're
Just
trading
the
and what we're trading and all
just the
that.
other stops. The algos come and grab
Right.
it. LAC, KLAC ripping here, guys. More of that China deal like trade doing really well. AMAT, I've talked about this countless times, still doing well on that trade. So keep an eye out for those types of names.
WGMI is moving higher. So, right, look at your Maras, look at your Riots. Right, Riot, do high of the day. Your MSTR, and if you're crazy, you want to do a double leverage Ponzi, you can do MSTU. That's an interesting looking chart. A little horseshoe, little undercut and rally there on the intraday chart for MSTU, which is obviously again just MSTR. So that means we're getting continuation in Bitcoin. Oh yeah, wow, look at that 2-minute chart in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's a nice 10% or no 1%, sorry, rip there in just 2 minutes. So, right, Ethereum still going. Yeah, Solana. Yeah, everything. Took a little bit of a dip off the open, but now we're reversing here on pretty much everything that I see.
There's that break in Mara. I'd look for one more cut down into the 1590s to try to trap one more time 16 buyers, but we'll see what happens there. Clean Spark could also get going after that. Nuclear trade coming off, guys. I think that one's the one that's breaking here. Remember, I talked about how some of these are going to start to break as the flight to quality starts to happen. Nuclear trade, I think, is right on right now. So look at GEV, look at OKLO. It just did the trap move of the year. I'm avoiding these names like the plague.
Yeah, and again, a good ETF for that is NLR, right? It's going to have GEV, CCJ, OKLO,
Yeah,
SMR.
this feels like a
Right.
perfect short on that.
And yeah, gapped up today and is red. And again, one of those we talk about all the time. Look at the things that are red to get your Q. Like uranium is down 2%, oil is down, or 0.2%, sorry. Oil is down nearly 0.5%. What else do we have here? XLP, staples being down actually makes perfect sense. So just go through your ETF list, see what's down. Jets is down, and that's what it. Pretty much everything else is ripping higher.
Makes me want to swing short that GEV for sure. But
Well, that's your gap fill,
the
right?
problem
So
is I don't have the cash for that GEV. With 10,000, it's not worth it.
you take percentages are percentages, regardless if you take one share or 1,000, right? I guess the commission would be the deciding factor there.
Yeah, it's gonna move.
Well,
Just
if
slower.
that's gonna tank, your SMRs, ooh, that's been
SMR is the one, but it's already leaked, right? Like it's.
right.
I feel like you're
OKLO,
chasing
what
a little bit,
NNE?
and then
That
he's
might
a
be a
little
good
bit
one.
tighter,
Yeah.
for the day trade, right? Probably not gonna drop as fast though. It's kind of like really consolidated sideways on the monthly. I like your OKLO.
Well, OKLO, I remember everyone was talking about as like a darling. They got a great trade on the 71 break.
Yeah.
And if we fail there, because that's a amazing looking candle yesterday. So if we gap up after that great bullish engulfing yesterday and fail, again, I always love my boy Brian Shannon's "From failed moves come fast moves." Right, that's one of his sayings that I love, and that could be the case where we fail it to get to this high and get a little bit of bleed there.
Mm-hmm. Mara's taking off from that 16, guys. That's doing really well.
Yeah, I agree, Tack. Again, it's Bitcoin miners. Again, I worked for one. It is a rough, capital intensive, labor intensive business. So for long term holds, I'm not a fan. But if it's going to be one of those algo things, right? If Bitcoin's ripping, everything with crypto in its name is going to go with it. So you want to find like the biggest name that could potentially go with it. So you want something like Amara that at least, I don't know if it is anymore, but was pretty heavily shorted. And it can be an awful company, but if it's in the right sector, there's some stat out there that 70% of the move that happens in any industry sectors. Yeah, so 30% short float in Mara. That's why I'm looking at it. Look at this tight base. It's going on right here, and it's 30% short float. So 1 in 3 short shares are lent out. So I'm just looking if it gets over this base, maybe it goes, from 16 to 20, and I'll be out really, really quickly because these are just junk, right? What's this other saying? If they don't scare you out, they'll wear you out, I think is the other one. I call them Shannonisms when we're out drinking together. It's a good friend of mine. Do I foresee miners being bought out? No. I wouldn't buy them, right? Good luck. Again, these things are losing money kind of hand over fist in most cases. And then every now and again, it's just very capital intensive. You buy all these units, you have to power them, you got to run them 24/7. They melt, they break down, you got to buy new units. It gets really, it's why things like Coin and Hood are doing so much better, is because the ability to scale a coin base is way bigger than to scale something like a Bitcoin miner. However, 30% short float. That makes me super interested if we can get outside this base on Mara to take a little bit of a shot. If some of those shorts have to worry a little bit, because again, we always want to chart the short float too. That's a big thing. I don't like just looking at the number. Where are they short is very important. And we went, there's a lot of them that exist right in here. So as we push higher, that's a push. That's a push that could cause some fear. So my laser is doing nothing, not a thing. LAZR.
Put in break even on DraftKings. It's coming back to me. So
TKNG.
the one name that I'm definitely caught under is you. Chased it. Now buying it on the pullback. Just getting wrecked right now. If it don't bounce, it's going to hit me hard.
Let me see what's going on here in the overall market. Yeah, the SPY's pretty significant downtick there.
ETHU is falling off there, guys. I should have been waiting for the short in Ethereum. It's looking great. Just took my eye off of it, and it's just dropping fast, guys. I should have been shorting Ethereum. I had to look.
range.
I knew it was set up here. This is on me. I don't know why the hell I'm not short Ethereum here. It just seems like a perfect setup to set the bulls up for disaster today. It's just going to be frustrating. Should already have the short off the 183s. It's dropping fast.
Does Hood have news? Is Hood tanking? Hood. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's
Yeah, it's tanking.
That's something. Well, then zoom out, right? Zoom out to the daily chart. So yeah, it's a quick move. But like Mitch was just saying, we're having a little bit of a pullback. And I haven't studied this, but it seems like you get your moves in crypto when the markets are closed. And that's what we've got in the last couple days, where the market open, Ethereum doesn't do anything. The market closes and Ethereum rips. So could just be one of those, right? Yes, the crypto is selling right now, but you got to put that in context, right? The fact that we're up 42% in a couple days. So we could downtick 4 or 5%. That wouldn't really hurt anything from a long-term trend. So that 4 or 5% downtick, if that's going to happen when the market's open, that might drag some Hood with it. But I'm not seeing anything in the way of news. So
Bitto's still holding well, so that's actually where I'm seeing more of the movement go to, more of the Bitcoin plays than Ethereum plays today. So there would be an interesting move. It would be is that Ethereum's red today with Bitcoin being green. So look for that type of action.
Yeah,
See
I'm
if there's
looking at. Ooh,
separation there.
I'm looking at stock twits. I don't see anything for Robinhood. They're just mad. So when they're just mad for no reason, it's probably not a news event. It could just be. You got to think about it too, right? Someone's made a butt ton in Robinhood from this all-time high breakout. Again, you buy the all-time highs, the thing doubles real quick. Maybe you're just taking the moment and you're using that big move we had in the crypto space, and they're using it to grab some liquidity. I don't see. If anyone finds any news, definitely let us know, but I don't see anything.
DraftKings trying to come get me here. Now the question is, do I hang on to it and get into a little bit of the red, or do I cut it break even? A lot of times I'm break even on swings when once I get already into the green. Like I was up like $112 this morning. Now it's back to break even. So it's kind of hard to determine, do I cut it break even here or let it at least get to some red on the trade. I wouldn't do the trade, the risk that I originally started from, but that's where it gets tough right here because it could stop me out and then come right back up through 43s.
This is why I generally don't move stops, because it becomes a really hard kind of mental question of,
It's a question for sure.
The only thing I can do to answer questions like that when I have them is just ask, well, what happens if I do this 10,000 times, right? Leave the original stop in place versus get stopped out, break even. So hopefully you're in the game to do something thousands of times.
Yeah. So like QS is a little bit further. It's still up 46 on that one. I'm going break even. On DKNG, I'm still staying in some type of red risk. Not the same risk, but still some risk on.
Yeah, this VWAP here. So this is the VWAP before the breakaway gap. Came right to the tick this morning.
It was so close to going towards 10, man. And the big part of this is also I should be in at 907. Mistraded this yesterday. So I'm at 916. Doesn't mean I'm not in, but I definitely should be a little bit lower. Been able to take some more profits into that move for the size that I had prior to what I have now. I have less than half of what I had yesterday. VIX jumping now towards 39. So still seeing some action there, or it doesn't look bueno.
So remember, zoom out here on the SPY. We have a big gap to fill, and if we are going to fill it, it would still be just a totally normal, everyday, healthy gap up, come back and retest it. But that's still a lot from an intraday point of view. Mm-hmm. That's still a pretty big deal, right? So
RBRX with an interesting setup right underneath the VWAP. Did do an opening push to 91 63s. We'll see what happens on that. There's DraftKings right on that break even, so it would have stopped me out.
Yeah, SPY pulling back just a little bit more here. I want to kind of, again, this is why we said don't FOMO in right at the top, because this kind of thing happens. What was happening to this Cava? This Cava got destroyed on earnings, so it's been ripping since then. Laser doing nothing, and then my old Sally Beauty. Of course, it's going up when the market's going lower, because that's just the way it works. But this TLS has been doing well, so doing okay.
SBET interesting here off the 2380s. Let's see if it goes back to 2450s. SharkLink Gaming. It's an interesting play.
I'm just taking a look to see, because we do have old
Trumpy
Trump coming on in just a little bit.
Top goes all around.
Yeah, well, they're talking about the next Fed chair, I guess. on here. So
Why is that even important?
I know it's in like 6 months or
Good
so
lord,
plus.
guys.
You know it's a slow day, right? You got
You
to
know
and
it's a slow day. Go focus on something else. Isn't there something else you can be doing, President?
yeah, don't worry with the markets right now. We're doing just fine. We're at all-time highs. Everything's ripping.
Yeah, dude. Just
Just solve
go.
something else. Solve
I
another
don't know.
problem.
Momentous still pushing there. Of course, rocket companies and things like that. Fly. What's up with Fly, man? Is that thing going to start flying after a couple of days of sideways action? I know some
Oh,
people
this is that
are
IPO.
sleeping on it, guys.
Yeah.
Um, they're sleeping on it. Maybe it starts to erupt,
Yeah,
right?
it's I like it. Again, most stocks. I know that everyone's talking about this as a failed IPO, but it's what most IPOs look like. The ones that just rip right off the jump, that's the rarity. It's 80% of the time they
Yeah.
under that IPO price, and now we've just been basing for a while. So
Basing. And what does basing do? It gives the big boys a chance to start piling in,
yeah,
right?
bigger the base, the higher in space. So we got a
It's an interesting
pretty
one.
clean one here.
I think we got to look for a break of 53 in the next like week and see if we get to 55 on a quick action. And that would be the sign that this wants to go. We'll see what happens.
No, I like that. I've been saying this, and again, I'll keep saying it. Find me charts that look like this, that have low bases, that are holding on, and those are the names that I've been buying
Choose
recently.
falling fast here. Falling fast. It's not a crazy takedown, but definitely not the update that some people I think were expecting here. And with that, I'm getting crushed in the day trade account's probably just going to fade away right here. But Ethereum still looking great on the swing side of things. I don't mind it. I just need to pop back towards like 183 and then see if the market fails again. It might just flush though, because I'm late to the game. Should have been shorting at 183 a little while ago. Fly, trying to hold on and fly up. There will be a new one that comes out today, of course. Don't miss that, guys. Bullish. Can't believe they allowed a company to be called Bullish, but hey. No regulatory
I'm
whatsoever,
gonna call my company buy this or line go up or something like that. That's gonna
right?
be my
Trend breakout is going to be my name.
in a little bit there. Where's VWAP? Oh, skewing. We don't know. Right to VWAP. To dig in, so kind of higher.
Dip
Oh,
buyer. That's what we're going
yeah,
to call ourselves, dip buyer.
they're
WBTN, W Webtoon Entertainment. I have no idea what the hell this is, but this thing's been rocketing, guys. Day two move up there to 1540s.
damn. Yeah. It's always the ones you have never heard of before
I have never heard of that thing in my
and
life.
will likely never hear of again.
It sounds like the one that we used to have, which is Genie, but it wasn't Genius Sports. It was Genius Brands. It's on the pink list now. That's your GNUSD. But yeah, I still remember the guy that was running this. Everyone thought that he was going to bring things back. I think he was like the main drawer of like some Marvel or some crap like that. And so, yeah, some companies will feed you some good BS, man.
Yeah.
They'll just feed you the good BS, man. Just good old BS. So the reason I'm not opening up swings either, guys, is I don't have buying power. No
Well,
bueno, but no buying power.
well, you know what I say, right? I love it when you're out of buying power. That
Yeah,
means
the
you're doing
problem is it's not
something right.
enough. It's not enough for me. Like I need to get some more of these. We need to do a swing accounts with bigger amounts, but that's just my focus. I've been pushing on the guys to make some bigger swing accounts. We'll see if we get there. There's DraftKings finally waking up a little bit there. Hopefully it starts to get running here. Could use a little
We've
run.
got this spy here, and we are come on. Yeah, we did this, tried to push off VWAP here, this big 2-minute candle spike and right back down. So that is not encouraging action to me anyway. Is that, right, if you're going to get these things, you want to see those VWAP bounces kind of happen quick and happen clean, and we're just not seeing that. So when I take a look at kind of the rest of the space, yeah, Bitcoin's still looking fine. Ethereum is definitely underperforming, and that just kind of shows a bit of a flippening, right? And
Yeah.
this is something, again, I've talked to some smart crypto guys about, and they're looking at that Bitcoin Ethereum ratio as kind of the risk on, risk off tell. Is that Bitcoin, weirdly enough to say, is the safe, I guess, the safe crypto coin, and then Ethereum is the risky crypto coin. So if people are buying the risky one, it's the risk on. If people are buying the safe one, then it's risk off. And he's been doing pretty well using that as a little indicator.
All right. We'll definitely need you to come back to even have a game on the day. Microsoft coming back up there to 531 to 532. That not looking bad at all. Meta's the one dragging a little bit there in the big cap names. Apple's still up. That's holding well. Amazon still holding well. We might get a 223 pullback in Amazon. That doesn't look too bad. Looking at the big boys, trying to determine what the big boys are up to. Google's on a pullback. How's Nvidia also pulling back there? So big boys starting to get heavy.
Yeah, we're seeing now. Let's take a look at IWM here just to see, are we getting a flip here, or is IW, because IW, yeah, that's interesting. So IWM here is hitting highs. So,
Yeah.
right, for those who are just
Seeing
joining,
an
we talked a
adjustment.
lot about how yesterday the big cap techs were under or lagging or underperforming the small guys.
Yep.
And this morning it was the complete opposite. The big guys were ripping, the small guys were, you could see, just couldn't even get going. Now
Yeah.
we've got small caps hitting new highs of the day, and then we have large caps right in the middle. Looks like they're about to roll over. So rotation, right? Bifurcated
Fate.
market.
Fate, the leading company in that IA Russell today, up 24% from the open.
Fate.
Overall, 25%. Therapeutics company,
Wow.
looking really well. They're up there towards almost 120. You got EDIT doing well there. Don't know this name at all, but it is
It-
doing well. And then there's some smaller names, right? OVA. So there's a lot of names just sitting up on the top end of their Bollinger Band. Also, but that's what you want to see, kind of
mhm.
the volatility expanding and then them getting outside of that expansion. Plug Power, another one that's doing well in the IWM this morning.
Well,
That
and look at this. Look at this clean potential if we hold this
Yeah,
clean breakout right here, and nowhere near all-time highs still, because not right, all-time highs are 245, but clean breakout on small caps. And again, I for one am all for it. I don't really care anymore about Nvidia, Meta, blah blah blah. If this is moving, that's 2,000 names that most of which are going to be moving higher, and that to me is a more target rich environment, you could call it, than looking at just these big guys that, right, you see over and over and over again. And the more names you have to potentially play, the more you can kind of express a little bit of risk, right? Where you're saying, hey, this is interesting. So nice breakout. And just, it's very rare to see IWM hit highs when the SPY is hitting lows ish, right? Real lows down here, but we're getting back through the opening price. So green to red there on the SPY, and then the IWM's holding at highs. So it's very much big cap tech has been lagging horribly the last 2 days. And the little guys doing great.
yeah. I mean, when the little guys perform, they're gonna outperform the big guys. Let's just be honest. The percentage moves are going to be higher.
Yeah, but
But
this is just a straight one down, one up, right?
I would still say that those charts are still looking really great from yesterday, right? That's the one thing I would say. It's okay to have the sideways day after a big push, like Meta had a 3% day. It's pulling back 1%, right? So it doesn't look bad. But IWM definitely outperforming. This is common in the rate cut game now, right? And now you got to play these companies that could do better in a rate cut environment, So
Well, and that's what a lot of people need to focus on is the idea is, right, we're looking for rotation. Right? The big cap techs, they've been leading for like 5 years. It's
yeah,
kind of time they take a sidestep and let some other mom and pop companies start to shine. And again, I promise you, it's a much more fun market to trade something that has some huge move, right? This $2 billion company that's going to become a $5 billion company is way easier to trade than like an AMD that goes up like 10%. Right? It's a lot easier to trade names that have, because these names, when they're getting accumulated, the small ones can really, really run. MATV. I don't know what this is, but shorted some of this MATV in the bot. Again, just looking for these overextended type moves. And we'll just take a look at some of the other trades. LAZR, right? Absolutely nothing. SBH, down on that one. And then TSL doing okay. So, of course, the names that my bot are shorting are small cap names because those are the only ones that are up.
and down goes Frazier.
Who's Frazier in this case?
Money Mitch is Frazier in this case.
Uh-oh.
Taking the beating today, guys. Gave it all back. Max lost trade. Goodbye goes the day trade account.
She happens, man.
There she goes. That you chased it and paid the price, boys. Paid the price. Well, there she goes. There she goes.
On to the next one. Right?
On to the next one.
You take your
Take
your
your
lesson,
L's when
you
you
do
get
your
it.
learn, right? You lick your wounds, you go outside,
Yeah,
kick some
man.
rocks. Don't go in the woods. You're not allowed to go in the woods here. But
Not allowed. Not allowed.
You go out on the road and kick rocks.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Oh man, it's bad.
Only you. Don't forget it.
I live in the woods, so they're like, you can't go in the woods. I'm like, does that mean I can't go home? I live in the middle of the woods. What are we talking about here?
You're not allowed, dude. You're not allowed to go to your backyard.
There's nothing but woods here.
Definitely.
So this isn't a dramatic sell-off that we're seeing in the market, but we are pulling back, and we talked about this. We gapping up huge.
All right. Looks like there's
to
some issue with invite. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, cool. I'll grab it. Grab the screen here. Yeah, so I just want to talk about again how rare this is, and I'll go back for those who missed the morning. Is this IWM divided by SPY? So this is CMT nerd stuff. It's a ratio chart. So generally speaking, when you look at a chart, you look at a chart in Apple, you're really looking at Apple over US dollars. So this ratio chart is small caps over large caps. So if this line goes down, which it has been for years, it means that you were better off buying large caps over small caps, right? If you are seeing this line go up, which we haven't really, that means small caps are outperforming large caps. And we've seen this, if we go to like the 2-minute chart, yesterday, and even from, say, Monday, huge gain, huge outperformance in small caps over large caps. So you've seen this, that there's been this kind of flippening that occurs where people go, okay, I don't want to own Meta, Amazon, whatever, as much as I want to own this other one. They're both going higher, right? But IWM is going more higher. And just like I've showed you, this is rare. It's not like you get this nice, smooth cycle between small and large. Small has been getting murdered for a long time, and large has been doing fantastic. And you can see these in the individual charts, right? This is the small cap index. It's exactly where it was in 2021. And then you look at the large cap index, and if you go back to where it was in 2021, it's up 50%, right? So you can see it just by looking at the individual charts as well. Generally speaking, over the last couple of years where we've had this outperformance in large cap, and it makes sense because of, if you go like TNX or something, the increase in rates. As rates go higher, again, we talk about this all the time. Apple doesn't care what rates are. They just want them to be stable because Apple has a whole bunch of cash. They can use that. Meta will be fine. All these companies that have a lot of money, they'll be absolutely fine with higher rates. Who gets hurt by higher rates is the small banks, the small biotech companies, the mom and pop shops, all of that. So it's not surprising that we've seen large caps do very well and small caps completely underperform. And imagine you're invested in your small cap index in 2021 and you're just back to flat now, 4 years later. And then if you owned any large cap, you did fantastic. But if we look at this ratio chart again, something has changed over the last couple of years. So this is what I was talking about. Me and Mitch were talking about in our little kind of company chat group, is that this is them pricing in the change in interest rates. They're saying, okay, if interest rates are going to move lower,
Yeah, you want
it's not going to
IWM.
benefit Apple a lot. It'll benefit them some. It'll really benefit small banks, small brokers, all of those things, right? So
There's a trade right now on the IWM, right off the 229 spot now. You just reclaim that spot. I'd look for that spot to hold now and look for a push. It's right on the 90 EMA, so it's a really good level to look off of. And what did you get right behind that? A liquidity move. 228.97 came back, undercut, and as soon as you get that when that candle started to come back, it starts to rally off of it. So now let's see if it just holds 229 and starts to push off of that. I think that's a good swing level. Why? Because if you look at the bottom action on the open, what is it? 228. It's like a dollar risk. Very simple to understand swing trade entries here. And I think you're starting to see swings getting taken on the IWM. Why? They're going to look for a 250 breakout. They're going to look for that 250 breakout. 244, I think, is the high right there. 245. So it makes sense to go for that shot, right? The 245, you're talking about like 11% higher. This is like money manager written all over it.
yeah, right? It's funny too, because let's go to bar chart. And I talked about this just a little bit. Actually,
Yeah.
let's do this. I kind of like the FinViz charts here more. So let's go to futures. And if we take a look here on the indices, if we look at the NASDAQ, we're talking about all the time how they're short the S&P 500 kind of en masse, right? They've been short the S&P 500 for a very long time. They've been long the Qs. So they're long the Qs, but then they're also short here. They're short the Russell. So there's been this very short, like have not been more short. So if you want any evidence that positioning data works, they have not been short the Russell for ages, right? Years and years and years. This is the most short they've been the Russell. So we're getting this divergence and then again convergence of there's this massive trade going on. I'm going to own big cap tech, and against that, I'm going to be short small cap, and that's the game plan. I'm going right long large cap, short small cap. Well, today and yesterday, we've seen this where small cap has outperformed large cap. So this particular trade of being short small caps and long large caps has been getting killed. So the question is, when do they have to unwind this trade? Because it's made them a lot of money for years. It's been a great trade to be, short or long, long Nvidia and short regional banks or whatever it is. If that's going to change, that's going to blow out a lot of these positions, and you're going to get this big tank down in your large caps, and you're going to get this rally, relatively speaking, in your small caps. That's going to be very interesting, right? Because when these unwind, they can unwind quick. And this is what causes rotation. So we talk about rotation all the time as this kind of nebulous topic. So that's a good idea of exactly what rotation is. It's, they've had this trade going where I want to own Nvidia and be short the Russell against it. And if that ends, great for us, not for them. As long as we can get in on the rotation, it's a good time for us, just not a good time for them.
All right, we'll see if that can keep going here.
So yeah, IWM is pulling back. It's just kind of, I guess, struggling against the high here just a little bit. and we continue to get this pullback in the SPY. Now we have this whole pre-market range, this pre-market kind of consolidation and level, and it'll be interesting to see what happens if this just pull back to this kind of shelf right here or this shelf right here, if this holds and we move higher, or we just get a little bit of the air taken out of at least the large caps, and then we're
Tesla
going
catching
into
the bid
small
around
cap.
the VWAP. If you're looking for a name that's doing well, that's holding really well today, Tesla.
Yeah. So what is it? XLV? Is that what's killing us? No, XLV is doing great.
Snowflake's starting to take off, guys. So I will say
XLF?
that. Maybe start looking at your cybersecurity names. Yeah,
Well,
cybersecurity doing well. ZS and other names.
right. So here's another interesting one. So this is XLK. So this is technology from the open. Now look at financials from the open, ripped where technology didn't, and look at healthcare from the open, ripped where technology didn't. So again, more of Qs, right? Just bleeding here at lows and almost about to break the pre-market lows, where IWM is doing fine, and then the SPY is kind of that middle ground, because the SPY, of course, is the middle between, mostly tech. I think it's like 23% tech, but then has some other sectors as well. So this is called intramarket analysis, if anyone wants to play with it. And I think this is way more important side of technical analysis than anyone can draw. Here's support, here's resistance, here's the trend. So much that there's really even not an insane amount of edge in that anymore. Where technicians spend a lot of their time is in intramarket analysis. This is why I've been hammering this today and saying we are seeing over the last 2 days a very clear rotation. If that rotation is going to continue, that kind of narrows your scanning universe and it narrows your trading universe. When we're having this kind of zone, and these can happen quickly. Sometimes I think the study is when you see a giant rotation like this, it's usually 3 to 6 months. Sometimes you get out of it. Shifting your focus, not necessarily just buying a lot of small cap companies and selling all your large cap ones, but shifting your focus and your scanning and you're looking for things that are breaking and looking for things that meet your setup. You just focus in a different universe. So say you have a scan of stocks breaking, I don't know, Mitch likes the 9 EMA, stocks breaking above the 9 EMA. Well, before it might have been better or more worthwhile to be focusing that scan on the larger cap stuff, because that's the stuff that's been running. The other way around, that might be the move right now, where we say, okay, instead of focusing on that large cap, I'm going to focus that same scan, that same strategy, that same idea into small cap world. Because if the small cap world is going to do better, then it's just better hunting ground. Right? This is what, when I was learning intermarket analysis, the people who were teaching me said, this is how you determine your playground, right? Where is it that you're playing in? What sandbox are you playing in? What's the rules of that sandbox? What's the rules of the playground? And then you got to go from there, right? You find, let me scope out my environment. Let me see what environment I'm in. I'm in a small cap environment, at least the last 2 days, which doesn't make a trend, but the last 2 days we've been in a small cap environment. Okay, well, let me find some good looking small caps. So if anyone sees any, let me know. Just watching here on another chart. Ethereum, it's digging in. Look at the bottoming tails right here. So we've tried to push, again, had this amazing gain here overnight, and then we put in this support zone. And we keep bouncing against that support zone over and over again. And every time we hit it, look at all the bottoming tails. To me, this kind of bottoming tail action is accumulation. Right? We know that the big guys, they accumulate on dips. They look for areas of support in order to dip and rip those as well. So far, we're holding that. And if we go across the space, right, Solana not doing that as well at all. Right, selling off a little bit more. Let me get rid of some of these lines so it evens out. And then Bitcoin. Right, so Ethereum, okay. Bitcoin, okay. And again, the more intermarket studies. And you can see that these intermarket studies work across different assets. There's nothing wrong with it. If you like oil, you bring up the oil ETF and you go through all the names in it and you try to find the ones that work the best. Well, do the same thing with crypto. Okay? Go through the cryptocurrencies that look the most interesting to you and take those ones. So let's take a look here on the SPY. Yeah, selling into this pre-market range right here. So I want to see what happens in this pre-market range. Not the WWW, the QQQ. QQ is well below that range, almost closing the overnight gap, and see if it can close the gap overall. And you can see it from this. Let me pull this out as well. You can see it from here as well. We have the Dow up 0.75. We've got the IWM up 0.86. The Qs are only up 0.09. And then the SPY is up 0.24. So there's tons of ways to look at this. I like the ratio charts. I think they're a great, clear idea of what's doing well and what's doing poorly. But you could just look there and say, yeah, it's definitely a large cap paradise. And then if we go into the RSP, which is the equal weight S&P 500, it shows that even down this large cap scale, it's still doing fine here, again, from the equal weight side of things. What I mean by that is that if you look at the RSP, instead of it being very weighted to the big guys, the Apple, the Nvidia, whatever, it's the average kind of large cap tech name. And they're doing okay, way better than the SPY. So it's your big guys. So if I go through here, there's going to be like an Nvidia or something. Well, I guess Hood would have been one of it that's selling. But yeah, we have Nvidia down on the day, right? Not a lot of things down on the day, but we see that in Nvidia. When AMD, is it going to be all semis? No, AMD. AMD's doing great today. What is it? Apple. Apple's doing fine. Tesla's doing fine. What's weighing us down here? Tesla is very interesting here, digging into this pre-market high, holding pretty well. See if this can start to drift higher. I'm going to go through, probably I'll grab the IWM tonight and just do a volume scan. Show me anything that does over 500,000 shares in the IWM. I'll probably narrow it down to a couple hundred names and just start going through that, because if that's what's going, that's where I want to be fishing.
Amazon looks interesting on this pullback. It's back down below 223s, right around the 90 MA on the 15. If we are going to recover on the day, this could be one way to do that, right? If Amazon starts to come back here, it doesn't look too bad there.
Yeah, I was just showing how well the RSP is holding up. So even
For sure.
your average large cap tech or your large cap stock in general is doing well. It's just the mega cap, right? And MAGS is probably the easiest way to look at that. So the Mag 7 is probably flat on the day.
Yep.
And what was that other one? The TOP
Top T.
Top T.
Top T.
Yeah. So that's down a little, or almost down. So yeah, again, just rotation. A lot of people made a lot of money on a lot of these large cap tech names. If interest rates are going to go down, then you're going to end up having that move that money into places that do well. And to move that money, they have to first sell, and then
Here's an outlier. PayPal today.
PYPL. Someone's mentioned that
Outlier.
there. And
Outlier.
yeah, do you see AMD as well? Look at that.
XYZ also doing well, and that was a really nice gap fill bounce off 73s. So XYZ looking really well. That's block, right?
And Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's holding. I was talking about this Ethereum. Look at all these bottoming tails here. If we go to like a 2-minute chart, every time we get under this, someone's buying and buying and buying and buying. It'll be interesting to see if that holds up as well as Bitcoin, because Solana's not doing this. We have Bitcoin performing the best, and we have Ethereum doing the second best. See if we get
should have
Solana
been short in Ethereum today, at least out the gates. That would have been a better play for sure. Nice rejection from the 185. This is how ETHU does it a lot of times. Also, it has a tendency of doing these like cut downs, move back up, cut down, move back up. So with these leverage names, sometimes it makes sense to sell the rip and then just get right back in it, right? Sell the rip, whichever way you're playing it. Upside also, when this thing rips up, it has a tendency of doing these quick rip up, and then it comes all the way back down. Quick rip up, all the way back down. And so you got to know where you're risking, and then also taking profits on these names. I remember I made like over $200 on this name with 50 shares, and it was like it was the fastest like $200 I've ever seen on 50 shares. So Just be careful
Oh,
out there with those names.
right, yeah, double leverage, crazy volatile makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Home builders up 2.5% is not something I don't have bingo card. So if you want
Oh,
the understanding that we are cycling out of big cap tech into other things, it's look at this ITB or this home builder
yeah.
chart just
It's
ripping,
good there.
right? And this is again, it's going to be great for us if we get this rotation because we don't care what we trade. We just want stuff that's moving. It's going to be really bad for that large group of people that we all know that only trade. I only want to trade, the big cap names. I only want to trade semiconductors and AI related names.
Yeah. I mean,
And
when you think about it, right, with the rate cut, right, the one thing that will get a little bit of spark, at least it's getting the spark today, seems like a simple trade now, but residential construction, right?
yeah,
And we're talking nail, but we could also talk just like a specific name like Lennar, that's outperforming LEN, home builder, right? They're doing well, right off of this spark. Now, can it keep going? I think that's going to be the interesting spark. But yeah, there's a lot of interest sensitive plays that we're seeing working well.
it's interesting that we're not KRE. It's not doing amazingly.
I think it's specific. If you go to specific names, I think you'll start seeing the perform. I think that's what you want to see now. Maybe go into that area, look at the high performing ones, and then look at the charts that actually make sense here, like an MTB. Perfect.
What is? See,
MTB is a regional bank. It's an expensive stock, though. It's not a small priced name.
no,
So that's in the KRE. That's another thing. The KRE has
yeah, $30 billion market cap. That guy. That's a big guy.
there's TFC that's 56. There's H band that's 23. Right. So this is the thing about KRE. There are some bigger regional banks. TFC's 56 billion. So that's I think what's affecting that a little bit more than just the KRE. But if you go to like a small cap, and then you can look at a lot of these names, Ally, Ally Financial, it's like a $38 stock. It's actually the bank I use. It's looking
What
pretty
ally?
decent. Yeah, ALLY.
It's funny because if you don't know how it works up in Canada, is we don't allow small banks, so we have like six, and they're just all huge.
Oh, there's so many banks, dude.
I
Here,
know, and it's just
it's absolute insanity.
I just remember during the great financial collapse, like going in, I was working at the hedge funds at the time, just reading. Like they had like a almost obituary page of like, here's the six banks that went bankrupt last night. You're like, like how many do you guys have? It's nuts.
QS is holding on by a little bit. That's actually not looking too bad. At least it's in the 930s. We'll look to see if that could recover because I'm looking for a move to 11. Going to hold on and try to make sure that that one actually gets moving here. If not, might have to cut it out, break even at 916. But I'm going for the win, right? I was up about like 185. I'm looking for over 200 on this name. So we'll see if we can get the move to 10. If I get to 10, I get the move, right? We'll see what happens on that. DKNG, of course, the kind of the trade there, I think it's interesting because if you look at the daily chart, the one thing I told myself is, of course, you can't break yesterday's low, which is 42.44, but really you want a clean day. And DraftKings is not being clean right now. What I mean by clean, you don't want it to break this like 42.75, right? I don't want to see it like an undercut there. I still want to see higher lows so that trend can still continue to follow, but this is going to need some comeback towards the end of the day. So if it can just hang on here, maybe even slightly touch 75s, but then start to come back up to the 43s, it won't look bad. Below 42.75 today's, and it's going to tell me I don't want DraftKings, right?
Well, and the beauty of that is, out and back in and all that kind of stuff is you're playing your skill,
Yeah.
right? Which is and your power over large institutions, which is you can kill it and then you can buy it back in
Yeah.
like an hour later if you want, right? And that's what I like about swing trading versus what we can do versus large institutions is that we can pop in, we can make a buck here or there,
By
we can
bouncing.
right? Get out flat and then move from there. Like we don't have to marry an idea where the big guys do, right?
Yeah, let's see if this Amazon comes back off of this. It's on the 5 minutes, a 50 EMA. On a 1 minute, it's a 200, and on a 15, it's the 9. Let's see if they all kind of play in here. So if you had a system to trade off the 9 EMA on a 15-minute chart, you would get triggered around here. If you had a system to play on a 1 minute 200 EMA, you get triggered right around here. And so let's see it, right?
So I had an interesting idea. Well, you were out yesterday, and I was talking to. Well, you were cheating on us. And I was talking to the
Oh,
chat, and I was gonna run it by you in a meeting. Let's just do it right here. I think this will be fun. I
let's
think
do
you'll.
it live.
I here's what I open up a day trading eval, right? 25K eval. We build a system for you. You populate the names on the system, and I have the system built. And I don't tell you what's happening other than maybe, I don't know, once a day or once every other day. You don't get to see the account. You just say, okay, Michael.
Mm,
So I'm thinking your undercut and rally strategy. So what would happen is you give me a symbol list every
yeah,
morning and say, okay, put this on the undercut and rally. And I just let the bot handle it. And you have
yeah.
no idea what's happening.
No idea.
And then we
Absolutely
go,
none.
okay.
It'll be better that way. It'll be what I normally do, right, for the playbook. If
Yeah.
I need to track
Right.
my playbook itself too, because I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes, like, and this is just a part of being like, also like on media and talking so many stocks, right? It makes it harder sometimes to stay with all of them. That's why
hmm
Michael's bringing up the system side of things, right? And like, if I just traded just my playbook, I wonder how that would do. Um,
Well, that's what I want to do is yeah, so
things
you
like that.
we'll work to create a little indicator for, the undercut and rally kind of
See
strategy I'm thinking.
Amazon.
So
Okay.
breaks a pre-market high or low, gets back through VWAP. You populate the list every day,
Hmm.
and then maybe even you leave a couple minutes early and I just tell the chat how you're doing.
Yeah, the
You get out of
last
here.
last 5 minutes, I'll
Yeah,
hop out.
and
You
I'll tell
guys
the
get to
chat.
hear it. What do you guys think, chat? You guys drop in the comments when you get a chance to.
I think that'd be a fun
If
little
this
game.
sounds interesting for you
But we
guys
should, I
doing
guess
it.
we should open up in your name because then if you pass the account, then I've just gotten an account.
Hey, we'll sell the bot, man. We'll sell the bot after
There you
that.
go. Well, but the power is right, which what I think if I was your trading coach, is where I think you should focus anyway.
Yeah,
Is the power that you would have would be in your pre-market research,
yeah,
right? Because it's your list of stocks. It's just being traded in this incredibly boring, systematic type way. And
yep.
again, I think it would be very interesting. I think you would be
It'd be fun.
pleasantly surprised
It'd be fun.
in the experiment. And yeah, at the very least,
Especially
it's fun.
especially doing things like that, right? Where I'm telling you, the more that you see your numbers, right? And we talked about this, guys. The more you see your numbers, a lot of times it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Uh, you see yourself losing often, and you're looking at the data, you're just focused on that. Well, you get some more losses, right? Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so, like looking at data is a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing at certain moments because it can also just drive you to thinking that the numbers are gonna like especially like a multiple losses in a row. That's just
Yeah.
gonna happen, guys. It's just an outlier. It's just a part of it. Stick with the system. Really look to see if the system's making errors, things like that.
hmm
But it's just a part of the game too, right? And that's why we leave leeway in the risk, and we're not loading the boat on every play, right?
Right. Yeah. And that would be the game plan is we'd come up with a risk per trade that you were comfortable in. Maybe we give it 2 or 3 times, or allow an account to blow up here or there while we tweak things. But I think that'd be a really interesting experience. And my selfish thing is that's my way to convert you. As soon as you pass an account, you didn't even know what was happening. You're just putting names into a watch list somewhere, and then you look back, you go, "Oh, smokes!" Plus, again, if it fails spectacularly, that'd be funny too. So we'll make it fun.
All right, guys. Looking decent on at least some bounce back. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on Josh. Josh is back, guys. What's going on, Josh? How we doing?
Doing good, man. Watching BSLK, of course, small caps. You know me. That's my forte. BSLK
Mhm.
rolling today, right now, up over
Yeah.
100%. So watching that dude right now, of course, in my live stream, multiple tickers. Watched AMD out of the gate. I'm doing like I said, my morning alerts every morning, which I love doing those because it gets me in the mode of like, hey, what to trade? What I go across the board, look at different tickers,
Yeah.
so I'm not just set on one ticker every day. Then it puts me in the right, essentially trade that I'm looking for. But AMD was a great squeeze play. I even have a line of resistance in that I've had in since February of 2024 at 180.25, and it was running into that this morning. And I'm like, man, it's on
Yeah.
squeeze mode watching it. Got a good squeeze.
Yeah.
So those are two of the pretty money plays today. What have you guys been looking at?
I've been looking at Amazon as one of the names
Yeah,
that's doing
sounds good.
well. Looking to see if that can start to push right off of this kind of 223.90 EMA. Talked about how it's also like for the 1 minute, it's a 200. A lot of traders kind of use that, and it just looks prime. I'm looking for big boys to run and continue to run and drive this party. So Amazon just has like a nice like gap to fill too, and sometimes like it could just be as simple as this. Like big boys are like, all right, I want this gap. Let's go get
Look at
it.
yeah. I've actually that's my baby. I've been in Amazon since 2022, and
Look at
my
that,
average
that
entry price.
gap right there.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I'm in at $93, so I really never trade
That's what you
Amazon.
do, man. You get if you got Amazon below 100. Well, guess what? That's what I like to say, Josh. That's not for you. That's for your future children.
Yeah,
Mhm.
literally, right? Or all of these guys, all my dogs.
Yeah, they're gonna need some running too. Let the dogs keep rocking, man. I got some dogs hanging out with me today too. So yeah, it looks like you've been on some of those smaller plays too. I saw Momentous as another play that was doing well this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
WBTN. I don't know if you saw this crazy flyer.
yep. It's on my so I got ATNF from yesterday. That was
Ooh,
the now multi-day runner. I had that one on. I've got BSLK on
yeah.
watch. I've got WBTN and AMD. Those are my four babies I'm looking at on my live
Mm,
stream right now today. So yeah, ATNF okay in market today. Yesterday, of course, was fun run up into pre-market this morning when it ran from 3-4 yesterday all the way up to 19, almost 20
Yeah,
this morning in
that was
pre-market.
wild.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
man. I was trading that one on the break of like 580s. I was in there like 610, I think was the size up. And it was a good breakout. Sold a little bit too early on the first pullback, but man, that thing really started to get rocking and rolling. That's why it sometimes makes sense to leave a little runner. Got to do those also. Leave a little runner on, see what happens there. But it's hanging out today. We'll see if that can keep going. Has made one attempt towards 1750. Just
Nice
hanging
little,
out right on the VWAP.
nice
and
little
that's
top
actually
there to Ethereum. Just FYI for those who are watching.
cool.
A
Yeah.
The original 52 week
little.
I was going to say on ATNF is 1775. So ATNF, the 52 week high is 1775. So that's why I was telling traders that didn't really play a factor in pre market. But I was like, I bet in market that area is going to be some tough resistance. And my question of the day that I had in my poll was is 1944 pre market high going to be the high of day in market for ATNF? And it's really 50-50 split for the most part. And so I like doing that stuff to kind of get traders on watch on what to look for, and a little bit of excitement with that too, because you get that big spike up. Is it going to be able to reclaim that once it cracks down so far? But so
Yeah,
far,
I talk about these setups all the time, guys. This is that classic wavy type of setup, right? So it has waves in this, right? If you actually expand this a little bit so you can see the waves a little bit more, and I'll take even the volume off to kind of show you the areas, right? There's an area here, right? This was like the first breakout pattern, right? Then there's like an expansion, right? Then there's another pattern right here. And the patterns repeat, guys. When patterns repeat on these smaller ones, those are going to be the higher quality, and why you can distinguish higher quality is a repeatable pattern, right? So the pattern was the same here. It was a kind of flag out from the pre-market stuff, like the action pre-market looking for a flag out break. It broke. It rode into another flag pattern, right? Then it just broke out, and it's repeating the pattern. But also a lot of times on that third move, when you get this expansion, right? The third move where it fails is D, and it goes into a little bit of correction. So I'd be looking for correction, maybe to underbreak this support a little bit, maybe even gets back to 13 and eventually starts to work back, because it could go back into kind of like an ABC correction where it's just pulled back, kind of gives you this kind of look, and then really starts to get going again, right? And so we'll see what happens with this
Right
on
there, Mr.
ATNF.
Elliott Wave. Look at you.
The thing is, I see these a lot, and I
Mhm.
don't trade them, but I see them a lot,
Yep.
right? And that's just pattern recognition over time. But I see these especially on the small caps all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So if
Well,
I would be
it makes
building
sense.
systems, like think about that when you're thinking about these.
Yeah, and I'm not like a rigid Elliott wave guy, but the whole concept of the market moving in waves makes perfect sense, right? You have a big push up, you're gonna have some people who owned it early, they're gonna sell, and that's gonna push it
There's going to be
down, and
oversupply at some point. It's just
right?
a demand
Yeah.
and supply game, right? And
Yep.
if we're going to have drives and pullbacks, right? There's going to be peaks and troughs. How can we play those, right?
Mhm.
I just hope everyone that I stream live with and I teach one-on-ones, like I said, for a few years now, like everything you guys just said is stuff I've just said for the past few years. I call it staircasing over wave. Of course, I know I want to name my own, of course, weird things that I
I
have.
like it.
So I call it
It's all good.
staircasing. Things of three. I talked about this in my AKNR last week. When you
Yeah.
get on that third level up, as in like 3 halts up, be careful and most likely it's going to correct itself, like you just talked about, even on 3 bull flags up or 3 flags up, right?
Hmm.
Everything you just said is exactly the same stuff I teach
Yeah.
and preach every day. So I'm like, guys, do you hear that? I'm said in a different way. I love when this happens. This is a beautiful thing in stock trading. That we're saying the same thing, just wording it a tad bit differently. But this
Yeah.
everything, I'm just smiling on the inside over here, big time. Like that's exactly what
Yeah.
I say every day. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
that's why BMNR can continue today. This is actually the second move. So this is the first move. It drove all this, created another huge flag, and it's actually breaking into that flag and
Right.
breaking out, right? And this is just as easy as this is why I also was looking at SBET today. I feel like at some point this one could be another one that gets going, but you got to keep your eyes on these names. That BNNR, that's just a rocket, man.
Yep.
That thing is a wild ride here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Continuing the 71 now just broke a new high.
Yep. And like
Yeah,
you
with
talked about,
Ethereum recovering here, that's gonna be
Yeah,
big.
that's
but
gonna help,
SBET,
right?
looking at same stocks over and over and over helps you too as well. For a lot of newer traders that need that, when you go back to
Yeah.
plays that move and create the same patterns day in day out. I've got a trader that's made a lot of money over the last year that I did one-on-ones with. And he's doing really great now. But he trades SBET multiple times a week because he just is familiar with it and he just understands it. It's
Yeah.
just it helps you out as a trader for sure. So funny, the stocks you mentioned are stocks I'm looking at daily. But yeah,
Yeah.
they just rinse and repeat. Look for the rinse and repeat patterns and just trade that. It's funny at first stock trading is, and it is. You think I always call it the JG Wentworth commercial. It's my money, I need it now, and you think you're just going to come in and here's my $500, give me $1,000 back, And I'm like, yeah. Then you realize all the little nuances and everything that goes into it. But once you do it long enough, and like you're talking about, you see the patterns day in day out. Just wait, just patience. Wait for those patterns. They're going to rinse and repeat, and when you find those, then you trade those. Like it then becomes easy. You think about like myself, and then I'm like, wow, this is way easier than I thought it was. Because at first it is so hard and it's over the top and over your head. And then through the years, if you stick around and understand the trends and the patterns, it becomes very replicable where you can do it day in, day out.
Look at this GBIO. This is a classic one for me, man. This is just the rule of three. It's up one, up two, down two, up three into this trend line move to 550. At that point, a lot of people are buying 550 when I'm thinking just come back one more time to support. If you come back in that area, that's when I can start to really kind of hone in and it comes right back to support right here. And then from there, it doesn't break that support, which is 502. You have a hard line there. As long as it doesn't break 502, you're still looking good on this GBIO. And then it just starts to build, right? Now it's starting to tighten down. And right out the gates, boom, starts to really rock. This one's actually looking pretty good. Could still have a 569 pullback, but looking good for the sixth break here. Looking into so many of these names today, of course, with the IWM doing well, that BSLK now new pushing and could make a new high here. So definitely you're seeing the strength there. You're seeing different ones. Long Genron, a classic, right? You're seeing so many of these names pushing well. Well, when the IWM gets hot, this is also another time to start looking at these names. So we could start seeing multiple of these smaller names really pushing. And so, of course, this is not just a small cap scan. This is for me, it's like a 5% push with a pullback. So that's how I get these names on here. But they're looking good here. A lot of these names pushing strong today. We'll look to see if the market can just lead back here. SPY kind of like just rejected there. Ethereum coming
Yeah,
right
new
back
lows.
down. So just be careful out there, guys. I talked about Ethereum one more time and then starting to drop. it looks like it's starting to do it. I think Ethereum's just going to get a little bit of a retracement, and I feel like this is a perfect time to retrace it after this nice rally. But you know,
Well, in small caps letting
I
go
won't
now
bore
too,
you with
right?
some more
So
waves there.
yeah, we're losing the small caps at the same time we're losing the large caps. So it looks like the war of attrition has been won
VIX
by the
starting to
bears, at
spike
least for
here,
now.
so that's one way to maybe play a little bit of some like
Yeah,
if
it's
you want to hedge a little bit, maybe that's one way.
Yeah.
well, and it again makes perfect sense that this is eventually, right? The leaders are going to lead. In this case, they're going to lead to the downside. So you just have to have that plan. And say, okay, if they're going to drag everything down with them, let's sidestep it, and let's not forget the overall like larger trend of the day. Yeah, we gapped up huge. Right? Everything's still up 0.5% plus,
Oh,
except the Qs that are
yeah.
down or flat.
Yeah,
So
like if you look at the hourly charts, those what you want I would be looking at is like yesterday, where you kind of made your breakouts, right? Are you holding those supports? And Microsoft's still there, right? Like still there, and like in those types of names. So let's see, what's another name that kind of rode up really good yesterday? Not Tesla necessarily, but Tesla's still holding in well today. Um, you can see it's actually still technically there, right? I mean, this is the resistance of yesterday, like on the hourly, towards the end of the day. I wouldn't mind if the SPY went back there and just got rebought. So
Here
yeah,
goes your GBI on new high of day, baby boy.
there you go.
Squeezing. It's squeeze mode. And mob shift is what I call it in small caps. You have AT&F dumping off, selling off right now. I don't see offering news or
There's
anything
that
like that. Just a
GVIO.
big sell off. And then you're getting GBIO to go up. You're getting BSLK getting its move back on up. So you're getting this kind of mob shift to who's moving away from what small cap, and they're moving over to the
Oh,
other small caps.
there's the break, guys, and this was a nice little setup. Now it runs into the high of the day. You got some sellers probably showing up right on the tape at 627. Let me even pull it up. Let's try to find some education time here. See if we see some big tape flow through.
And good on LGVN, it's squeezing to one right now. So you kind of have that mob shift to what they want to trade. Is it a $1 ticker LGVN? Is it a $6 ticker GBI?
Oof.
Or, so it's like, what can you afford, so to speak, too?
Yeah, not much on the tape here. So I don't know if there's anything out there on the dark pools right there, but there's not much here to stop it. Let's see if it just flies up through. And there's the size going through now, 3,000 shares on the bid off the 34s and 5,000 off the 40s there. So that just goes to show you they're stepping up here. Let's see if they take it. And there's not much I'm seeing on the level twos here and kind of the super dom that is available to you guys on Trader Evolution. So let's see if they just ride this up there.
not a regular dom,
It's a super dom,
super
super
dom.
super dom. If you guys don't use this, so it's right here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so it helps you like kind of see through kind of the depths here. And what does it tell me? Watch for 650, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There
there's
you go.
650s. That's going to be your next play where you'll run into a little bit of some overhead supply. And that's when you probably see a little bit of a slowdown. So we'll look to when it approaches 650s. Does it do like that quick takedown, right? So you look at the orders. Is it a spoof or is it going to get hit? You see it just went up to 14,000 now. And then so when it gets that 650, I want to see if it actually goes through and shows up on the time and sales. That's one of the tricks sometimes. You'll see it there, but then when it actually gets there, it doesn't show up in the time and sales. They pulled it off.
Yeah.
So
I always say that too. When you get close, because people are like, I work with obviously a lot of traders. What do we all at first? We're greedy. We want that. I got to have 60, and you get technical. I have perfection. I got to get 650, 650. It's a round number. I see it on the level too. You get to 644, take some, you'll get that over time because this will happen. It'll hit 644, comes back down. You'll stop yourself out because you get scared in like the 630, 620s, right? And
yeah,
then you should have still held on to that because it's probably still fine and bullish and it'll go back up. But that's where I'll tell traders, look, if you get 5 or so cents away from your target, you can start wrapping up some. Now, if you want to be specific and have limit orders in, that's fine. But with me, especially in large caps anymore, I tell traders, if you have a target and just say it's 187 and you're in it for a good chunk of change, if you see 186.97, 186.98, 186.93, you can start looking to especially when the like you're talking about the level 2 and it's tight, it's a 1 cent, 2 cent spread. You can market order out and you're not going to get screwed. You're not going to have like this bad, like I got filled all over the place, right? And so that's
yeah,
where I tell traders, try not to have that greed of 650 on the dot, 650 on the dot, because it may not ever hit it. And we're not guaranteed tomorrow. Or like here, I've had this. Traders hit to a target and they hit, it hit 650 and they don't take it though. And they start doing that. Oh, we're at 650. I should easily be able to get 670 now. And they start doing that. And it never gets to 670. It never gets that next target. Like I always say, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. You just got 650. You were guaranteed. It just showed up at your front door. You wrap that up and you go, I got, you unwrap your present and say, yeah, because that is a present that was given to you. You're not guaranteed, essentially the next target, the next level. And so when you get that, like I always tell my mom, today's the present. And she's like, I can't believe, I don't think she ever heard that before. Like every day, that's why they call it a present, right? It's the present, or I'm present, because it's true. Every day is a present, right? You're still here breathing on earth. And so when you hit that target, you got it. It's guaranteed. Lock up some profit.
So you see it right there. We're starting to push. We're trying to get back to that 14. He came right back into play here. We'll see what happens there when it gets up to that level. Another thing to keep in mind is you always have to bid, right? The bid is going to get you out faster than it is on the offer, right? So if you need to bid out, that's okay too, right? That's where I think some traders just do it wrong. They're only throwing limits on the offer. I understand in certain brokerages, if you're trying to get some rebates or something like that, and that's your mentality. But in this case, you don't have to worry about that. So don't be so attached to offer versus bid. And sometimes taking the bid is what's going to really quickly get you out. I used to even have hotkeys for a -3 on the bid. So put a limit order 3 cents below the bid, especially if I have like 1,000 shares, I could care less, just fill me. And that's what matters more, right?
That's the panic button. That's not nearly as panic as a market, right? A market is just right.
Yeah, market orders will eat you alive, guys.
Take me, market maker. Do whatever you want. So that limit offset, which is what we called it, is just right. You're
especially
still
in pre-market,
acting as a limit,
because people in pre-market, you have to use limit orders. Do that to get filled. Every time I'm shorting in pre-market, that's all I'm ever doing was going over and getting in on the right side. Whether it's the ask or the bid. I'm like, listen, it's good enough. Like you, and I do that on my hotkeys when I used to have back in the day, other different brokers. Of course, I'm with you guys now, but same thing. If I have hotkeys, I offset that by 2 or 3 cents, and it works so much better for sure. That's definitely a good thing to do.
All right, we'll do a little wrap here really quickly here. Michael, any final words on the market? It seems like we're hanging in there, but it just seems to me like it could be kind of more of that, dare I say, are we just going to get a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a move back into play? But I don't think we'll even approach the 9 EMA. That's 636. I think we might just stay around the 640s. You talked about earlier, could we go back to that all-time highs into that area, right? Well, it looks like we're heading towards it. Or is that what you're seeing, Michael?
Yeah, just 2 things quickly. One is the rotation, right? We still have IWM up 0.63%, even though the Qs are only up 0.05%. So massive rotation in the small cap. Same as yesterday. Big day small caps yesterday, big day small caps today. And then just what you said there, Mitch. Remember, we're up 9 days in a row on the SPY without breaking the low of a prior day. It's got to have. I think the record's like 14 for like lifetime. So we're getting up there. That we need some sort of pullback. So a pullback doesn't mean a sell off, doesn't mean end of the bull market or anything like that. But we're due for a little bit of a rest. So if that's what's going to happen over the next couple of days, fine by me, right? You just need to know what environment you're in.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking for my swing trades to work out. I got DraftKings and QS still on, and it was not a bueno day in the day trade account. But hey, there'll be another day. There'll be a tomorrow, guys, and that's for sure. Thank you, Josh, for joining in. We'll be getting some more trading from Josh. Of course, you guys can always learn more about Josh. Where should they go, Josh, if they want to learn more? Everything you do, my friend.
Well, hopefully hear more, right? You're going to see me more here. So come here and come see me more with these beautiful men. Don't forget BSO. But Josh A. Smith Trades is where you'll find me. So no, that's my email. So now I'm giving my email out from earlier. That was where now there's no A in there. Josh Smith Trades. So go to Josh. Yeah, that A's in there. So Josh Smith Trades. Find me on Instagram. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. or on YouTube, it's going to be AK47. And my website is Prime Trading Investments.
When
Prime
you
Trading, baby. Got to keep
when
it
you get the
prime.
spam later today, you know why, my friend.
Yes.
Have a
It's
good
gonna be-
one. Take care, traders. Stay safe out there. We're going to be doing more, of course. Check out our Trading Bot event. That's going to be on the 18th. The description below will give you that link. You don't want to miss it, guys. Be there. Be square. It's coming faster than you know it. The 18th. We're only 5 days away from that. And I know I'm going to be there learning more and more. We're going to be working more and more on bots, guys. So if you wanted to get in on the trading bot game and you thought that there was not going to be an opportunity for you here at Trade the Pool, you were wrong. And so stay tuned. Michael's getting ready to go. I'm telling you, hey, you guys don't want to miss that presentation. And of course, we're going to be joined by TrendSpider. So you don't want to miss that out, guys. Signals, Stack. I mean, this is a great opportunity, not only just to learn about bots, but learn about the new trading technology that's out there for you guys to keep developing. We'll see you next time right here. Keep pushing. Of course, you know it's Trade the Pool. We'll keep looking into the market.